What's up, y'all? This is just Ashley Keaton. I sorry, I moved my camera. We're to help you get blessed, confess, finesse, enjoy the process. In the name of Jesus, can I get an amen, y'all?
Amen.
Excuse me, Brittany. What's going on? Say, can I get an amen?
Oh, amen. I wasn't even here.
She ain't even here. Where's she at?
I was trying to figure out what camera was on.
We are
me.
all here today in the podcast room. There is no need to be anywhere else.
We made this big screen.
No, because you're gonna need to be changing some stuff. Hey man, I'm blessed to be here. We're talking about forgiveness, y'all.
Oh,
this is a big topic. First of all, I got a testimony, man. Wednesday, it was such a great experience, and I know everybody got their wonderful churches, but Truth Chapel, bro, I've been bragging about this church since I've been there a few weeks ago. Just amazing. I mean, people, boy, they getting tired of here. Like, you constantly talking about Truth Chapel, man, all the time. I'm gonna have to visit. You gonna have to visit because you're not gonna know what goes down in Truth Chapel until you visit. And Wednesday, man, I had a deliverance that was so amazing. And I am not one of those people that's constantly talking spiritual this, spiritual that. But it was a moment that sometimes we can study as much as we want, and I love studying. I love looking up how to get to a certain place where you can be healed, because people think that it's just faith and just magical things that you do. But in this case, I'm not gonna say magical, but it's very spiritual. But I will say it takes work to get to that point where that way God's blessing actually activates for you. You can't just depend on God's miracles and you don't have a stewardship of every other process that he has for you. That would be the faith without the works. So in this case, I feel like it all just tipped over, and there was just some procrastination in my spirit, some depression there. I'm not gonna say I was like depressed, because
talk about it.
But we have to be able to be open. Like, this is, if that's how you feel, then that's how you feel. So I know it was a very bad lull in my life that was cleared up. And the lady was speaking, Sister Ginger, and I know she's got a podcast starting now, so we have to get her on the show so she can heal some more people. But she was talking about some stuff. She was talking about the dopamine and
the mini neuroscience sermon.
Yeah, see, you could understand more of that better than me.
I'm gonna go Wednesday just because
you got to the frontal lobe, what it does, and then what did they end on? Spirit. They prayed.
Do you know?
And
then
I got healed. Huh?
Do you know her background? Like, is she like
I'm not sure. I mean, it's a few people in there that have, like, I'm telling you, every time somebody comes up to a Wednesday night to speak, they're giving their credentials. They're talking about this. They had a dude talking about money. I think his name is Stewart or something. So
Steward over stewardship. I like
Steward
that.
over stewardship. That need to be his podcast. That'll be a good. He need to start one. But it was a blessing. I just had to give a testimony. I'm telling you. So we're talking about forgiveness, and forgiveness was just hitting us, hitting me, hitting you, probably hitting Jesse. Jesse had to. Some people had to forgive Jesse for how wrong he did them. And so it was just a great experience all, this week.
We were being tested on this.
I mean, from Sunday, it just, Pastor Court Chavis, he preached a message, and it just really hit me, and it hit, I as soon as I saw the message, I was like, oh, I got to send this. I got to send this to my sister, my brother. I said, this is for us. And I feel like maybe the forgiveness topic was already brewing. And then that Sunday sermon, that was just another sign. And then throughout the whole week, it was like, yo, it's a lot of forgiveness going around right now. And I was like, we already chose to do this topic, and forgiveness is going around. That's why I know nobody can tell me that we are not headed in the right direction, because we're open to change. We're open to doing things the way that God wants us to do it. If it comes out, if the truth comes from somebody we don't like, we're wondering, I don't really like the way you presented it, but is it true? We're considering that. So if you guys could tap in with us, hit the like button, subscribe. It's not really there's a thing, but we don't have like a banner for that. But you can like the video, help it get out to as many people as possible. Because I'm telling you, the studies that we've done on this, that I've done and preparing for this, I know I keep looking in this direction because I'm so used to for the camera to be right there. So it's just been such a blessing, and I know we're gonna bless some people. And subscribe if you're feeling it. So first of all, um, there are some very surprising facts about forgiveness, and I'm just going to go through a few of them before we get started. And if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, we're going to read the chat. We're going to have a moment where we read the chats, and then if you do a super chat, we'll make sure we read yours first, just for supporting us and donating to the stream or donating to us or whatever. It all goes towards making this as big as possible so we can bless as many people as possible. So, surprising facts: forgiveness is good for your heart, literally. And there are some studies that show people who practice this forgiveness have lower blood pressure, reduced risk of heart disease, and even stronger immune systems. And holding a grudge is linked to higher stress and anxiety. Forgiveness doesn't just set them free, it frees you too. So, and people who forgive tend to sleep better. The emotional release of forgiveness reduces rumination, which is a big cause of insomnia. And this is just, you have so many thoughts on your mind when you're sleeping. And if you are not a person that forgives, this affects other things in your life. It's a domino effect. For you can forgive someone without ever reconciling.
Can I speak on that?
Yeah,
what
I'm
you
just gonna read this point and I'm gonna let you say that. Forgiveness and reconciliation aren't the same thing. Forgiveness is about your heart. Reconciliation requires mutual trust and change. So you can speak on that.
That's interesting because you have like a level, like you have like a, I'm trying to think how to put this.
Like a pyramid?
No, like so as far as like your well-being, like if you're too stressed, like it's like a box, and so it kind of like will move up, and if you're too stressed, like you'll move into like fight or flow. Like when you release stress, releases cortisol from your adrenaline gland, and so if it goes like above the line, you're in flight or fight. You're in
Fight or flight.
Fight. You're in fight, and then if it's like under, and if it's like too low, you're like flight, or like how we say it, like I don't really care what happens to me today, like more like depression, and then above it is more stress. You want to have some level of stress because you want to stay here. You want to stay inside of the box. You don't want to go outside or, if that makes sense. And so what's interesting. So
you want to balance.
Yeah, you want to balance. You want to have, because like you want a certain amount of stress, like you want to be able to pay your bills. Like you don't want to not care, because then it's like depression, and then you're like out of that balance. And it's interesting that you said that about, what did you say about the,
what did he say on that last part?
What was the beginning when he said
the beginning?
Okay, like
you can forgive someone without reconciling.
Well, it's like you said, it keeps it makes you healthier.
Your sleep, your heart, fix all that. Like your stress, you're more likely to let me just read it. Forgiveness is good for your heart, literally. Holding a grudge is linked to higher stress and anxiety.
Yes.
People who forgive sleep better.
Well, because it's causing you to release that cortisol. And so when you're forgiving somebody, when you can have, so say like something happens to you like really bad. What is the first thing you do? You want to go tell somebody, I was in traffic today and this person cut me off and I almost ran my car, going and telling somebody is helping. And then what they do is they help you. You're looking for somebody to help you bring that cortisol down. And so you want somebody who's like, oh my God, how could they do that to you? And so that's I know, right? And so talking to people like that actually helps us. And then maybe you provide like understanding. Some people can make you more mad, like, well, what was you doing? What you wasn't even supposed to be out today.
Making some stories. Just if you can. Just to get some yeah.
But yeah, it's like you want to talk with people be sociable with people to help regulate your emotions, to keep your cortisol level, to keep your stress down. When you're upset at somebody, when you're mad at somebody, then of course, obviously you haven't forgiven them. But as soon as you have empathy for that person, which usually comes from understanding, you're able to bring that level down. You're able to lower that cortisol. And of course, that's what's good for your heart.
Yep.
That's why you can't just say, I forgive somebody. You actually have to do it. People don't know how to do it. They think all I got to do is say it. But then it's like you still feel it. It's like, how do you physically forgive somebody? And you have to know how you feel. I don't like this person. When I'm around this person, I can physically feel my blood pressure rising. I feel angry. Well, I haven't forgiven them. How do we do that? It's probably just going to that person, have a conversation. When you can understand, maybe you don't agree with that person, but when you understand why they did it, where they were coming from, and you can have empathy, that empathy for that person is going to bring that cortisol down. It's going to release serotonin, which is the love hormone. So serotonin is like the kryptonite for cortisol. That's what we do with babies. When babies are screaming, you hug them, you release serotonin.
I just experienced that somewhere today.
No, we didn't release the cortisol. We just we did release the serotonin. We just let the cortisol. And so that serotonin brings that cortisol level down. It also is what adults need. And that's how we keep that balance. We use serotonin. And a lot of people don't have serotonin.
So we need some serotonin shots.
You need love.
I'm just playing.
She said some good stuff in there. It was a lot to unpack too. It was like, somebody be speaking, you be wanting to write down certain notes so you can. I'd be like, dog,
get us a notepad.
I do got a notepad, but
we'll
probably get more in. Yeah.
Oh, that's some good.
We'll probably get.
Hey, used to that.
Yeah, it was making me.
Usually you don't say a lot of good stuff.
Sure don't. I be saying some dumb stuff. Everybody like, oh, here go Brittany.
What is she talking about?
But it was making me. I wanted to respond to certain things, but I wanted to let you finish. But then I was like, I forgot what I was trying to say. But we'll probably get more into it anyway. But I so
yeah. But how to forgive is such a challenge. Now, for me, it's okay. The problem is a lot of us think of, how am I supposed to forgive this person, instead of doing the work to be a forgiving person.
That's good.
So we're thinking about, how do I solve this? It's like, how do I lift 200 pounds? You have to be in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
You have to practice not letting things anger you. And what does that take? Like you just said, understanding people.
Yeah.
It's just like fear. Fear, hate, both exist because of a lack of understanding.
Yep.
So I have just taken this from my own experience. If there's any research on it, I'll read the stuff that I find. But through my own experience, we are overcomers by our testimony. So we all have a story. How did we personally, this is all research because we are researching this topic. So with forgiveness in my own life, I had to forgive people that didn't even do me wrong because I felt an unsettling. So there's something I wrote down. Let's see. Okay, so forgiveness is a hard thing to do. So if you imagine that someone lied to you or betrayed you, maybe even abandoned you, and now you're told to forgive them, what does that actually look like in a biblical perspective? Is forgiveness a one-time decision, or is it a daily walk? And I'm trying to find the part where, no, you can go ahead.
Doesn't the Bible say somewhere to go to that person?
It does say something about that. My question was, how do you said you had to forgive somebody that didn't do you wrong. Can you explain what you meant by that?
So there's a part I put in.
Okay, here it is. About forgiving yourself.
So here we go.
That's another part too.
So I'm going to break it down like this. So apologies. right? So people, it's the same thing, right? And I'm telling you, I am one that analytically will, I'll analyze for apologies because they don't make sense to me in certain contexts. When people say just apologize anyways, even though you didn't do anything wrong,
I'm not doing it.
You see what I'm saying? So, and to some point, you are right, and I agree with that because I don't want to apologize for something I did not do. But there's
I'm
more
not
to
doing
it.
it.
It's not just that simple, though,
I
right?
done stopped doing that.
Yeah, it ain't that simple.
But
Because I agree and
I'm
disagree
talking
as
about
well.
just
I
from
get you. I
just
feel like
from
that.
Brittany's perspective, I feel that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I feel that, and I'm like, yeah, I've said that a bunch of times. It's not okay. You know what it is? It's so funny. Like people think you don't want to apologize because you have pride. I was like, no, that's not even it.
Sometimes it's putting the pearl before swine.
It's because am I telling you that I actually did what you said I did?
Yeah.
I'm apologizing. Like if you say, I need you to apologize, like you need to learn how to apologize. You have a problem apologizing. I was like, okay, I apologize for slapping you. I didn't even slap you. Why am I saying that? So it's how crazy that sounds, but I understand that it's not about the phrase apologize. If we could stop saying you need to apologize even when you didn't do something, that's to me that's the wrong word.
Yeah.
You need to reconcile because you care about the other person.
What do you mean by like reconcile? Like
So
in what context?
You need to bring this to a point where you just have understanding. If you do, like you have to try to understand how you may have offended the person unintentionally.
I get
Can I
that.
speak on
That
that?
should be the goal. Like the word apology is semantics. It's like saying, I'm gonna go a little political. Do you believe in Black Lives Matter? Like that's a stupid question because I'm Black. Of course I believe Black Lives Matter. I don't need to say the phrase to pacify you though. Like, do I believe it? Let me give it to you by definition. I understand that people go through things and there needs to be something done about it. Why do I need to say the phrase when that does nothing to help you? Why do I need to say, I apologize and I don't understand what I did wrong? And I'm just saying the word so we can put a Band-Aid on it.
Or it could be like, I apologize if I offended you.
Right. And even that, like, I'm not saying that I agree that I did something wrong. What I'm saying is the way that it's framed, I apologize if I offended you. Those were not my intentions.
Yeah,
but I'm not saying I apologize for doing the thing that you think I did.
Because we're still not done with this conversation. Now we might be to the point where this conversation can't be had because you're not, that other person is not really open to have the conversation because they may be hostile. They might feel like in defense. And sometimes we can put that person in defense. And so maybe sometimes we do need to back off. Maybe the words that we chose to use were not the right words. And so it could be a little bit of us. I've definitely had conversations with people that I do care about, that I felt like I was right, but maybe it was the way that I said it, and it probably could have been the wrong time. And then, I can apologize for that, but I am, I'm not going to apologize for something that I didn't do, and I'm definitely not teaching my kids to do that.
You're not gonna lie and admit that you did something wrong when you didn't. Exactly. What was you gonna say, Jesse?
Yeah, so this is it's interesting. I feel like when you're apologizing to somebody, a lot of the times we may not know how it affected them because people don't get to choose their emotion, like from the way they feel about something. They don't get to choose that.
Yeah.
They do get to choose their response to it. But I think when you're apologizing, a lot of the times, if I don't feel like what I did was wrong, I would say my intentions was never to hurt you. And I think that in itself is like, I wasn't trying to hurt you. So I apologize because I know it hurt your feelings, because I'm going to validate your feelings. The fact that you got hurt about this.
Yeah.
And I still don't agree that what I did was wrong. And I'm not apologizing for that because I would do it again. So why would I lie about that?
Right.
I didn't mean to hurt you, but this is what this is why I did that. And I would come up with something specific. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but a lot of times I think
like you made a joke and somebody got offended by
well,
it.
I might
but
wouldn't
you don't
do
have
that
a problem
again.
making those type of jokes.
Yeah, well, maybe I wouldn't with that person.
Yeah.
But
if someone if you apologize to somebody for something that offended them,
it's like I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
You wouldn't do it again with them anyways. You wouldn't change your character, but you would change how you operate around them. Because what's the point of apologizing?
I mean, yeah, unless they understood, like, oh, okay, he didn't mean to hurt me. He just was doing this. Yeah. So I accept the apology because it did hurt my feelings. But I also understand that, like, yeah, your feelings was hurt, but like he didn't mean it this way. But it also depends on the reciprocal of the person you're in a conversation with.
Yeah.
Because everybody's not going to handle it the same. And so it's also dependent upon that.
Then it gets into don't cast your pearl before swine. Like you need to understand like who you're having a conversation with.
Because some people could just be
projecting. They might not be mentally stable to have this
y'all
conversation.
Deal with a lot of trauma. Are y'all okay?
Yeah, I do.
Are y'all okay? Are y'all okay?
But some people's filters are broke.
Do we need to pray for y'all?
Some people's filters are broke. It's like no matter how I say it, when I say it, where I say it, or in the tone I say it,
I think, but that's our
it's not going to get received well.
Like that.
It's not going to get received well because your filter's broken. So it's like, just no matter what I say, it's not going to be received well because your filter's just jacked up.
But
the way you interpret what I say is just going to be bad because you got so much trauma and you're projecting so much. There's no way anything I say good can get through.
But I do like being able to recognize that. Like, just think about how far we came to like, why are we getting into these arguments? And then now we're able to recognize, the trauma and
where it's come from.
Exactly. And what understanding is giving us empathy. So it's like we might not agree with this person. We might understand like this person is not willing to put the work in. I probably would never be able to have that type of relationship, the relationship I want with them. Mm-hmm. But we have understanding to still be able to love them and just accept them.
What's interesting?
We have to distance ourselves.
The interesting thing is we get in more arguments with people that we are close to. Why? Because there's way more that we have to understand about that person. So there's a deeper level of understanding that we are constantly fighting to have, and it just happens.
And we care more.
The
relationship a lot less shallow.
We're not like when you're far away, like people say, oh, I don't want to go to a certain church because churches hurt me. But then it's like, if you just go there as a visitor, oh yeah, you're like, this church is fine. As soon as you get to know people, there's a level of discomfort there.
It is.
Even if that's the best church in the world, you just have to be aware. There's going to be a level of discomfort because I'm getting to know these people. And it's so funny, this person offended me because they didn't have the understanding of how to talk to me, and they didn't do anything wrong. They just made a certain face expression like, he's acting fake. He don't really want to talk to me right now. He probably is just trying to get past the uncomfortable stage. And it's weird because we always have these things that we do and we just feel so uncomfortable and we start thinking things about people because we don't know what to fill in the blank with. Our brains are trying to figure it out. When you're scared of something, your brain tries to figure it out. When you're in the dark and you're looking in a dark room, your brain will try to figure out what things are. The same way with people. Any type of darkness, your brain it's a good process, but you have to understand your body and your mind is adapting to what you cannot see.
Yeah.
But that process is uncomfortable. But if you let it happen, you will begin to see. You have to be able to be around people and have those awkward, weird conversations so you can get to know them and be good. There's nothing wrong with this many people. Matter of fact, I'll say it like this. There's something wrong with everybody, but it's not what you think it is. You don't understand what the discomfort is yet.
Yeah.
So we constantly apologize.
Your brain will fill in the blanks when you don't have the understanding, when you don't know. Your brain will say they don't like you. Mm-hmm. And so what you need to do is when you feel that uncomfortable feeling with someone, like I've done it and didn't even know what I was doing. It was a girl in the church I was going to, and I didn't like her. I had no idea why I didn't like her. I was told bad things about her. I think I was told she was a witch or some crazy stuff. But it's something about like the way she acted. I just didn't like her. And when I went and spoke to her, I'm like, all of that went away. And it's like, I really like you. You're a really great person. I feel stupid for even feeling that way about you in the beginning. So now I know anytime I feel something uncomfortable about somebody to where my brain starts filling in the blanks, I'm like, I need to go and have a conversation with this person so my brain doesn't make the decision for me. It's like you have to say, I control this body. This body will not control me. If you don't do that, if you don't fight against that, it will control you. So I'm going to get up and I'm going to go do that. When I feel, even in traffic, like when somebody is trying to get over, I'm not letting them over. No, we are going to let them over. And then that feeling will go away. And then you're happy because I just did a good thing.
Yeah, it's so funny because we had a conversation like on a previous episode, like way back then, about you know, Mike Todd, Tim Ross talking about they're just, you know, bad people, whatever. But or just some disses just kind of thrown out. And I was like, I feel like if we just knew them,
exactly.
if it was like, oh, yeah, that's my homie, but I don't agree with that. That's how it would go if you actually knew them.
Exactly.
Versus you not knowing them and now you're farther away. So there's a tendency to say things because we don't know those people. And I know enough about people that if I met them, I'd be like, oh, the conversation will blow my mind. I already know it. And I could still disagree with some things he does, just like I disagree with some of my
that we
religious,
disagree with each other.
Some of the pastors in my own belief system that I'll disagree with. So it's like we're people. What do you mean? Like a disagreement
is normal. We can't always agree with each other 100% of the time. We have different experiences that make us feel different ways, and that's okay. We're not supposed to agree with each other on everything. And we also are supposed to stand up for ourselves when we do disagree and say, like, it is okay that we disagree. What works for you might not work for me. What works in my marriage, I can't tell you. If you don't do exactly what I'm doing, you're not going to have a good marriage. Like, you can't agree with me on everything. It might not work for you.
Yeah. So back to what Jesse was asking me about the when you're asking for forgiveness for something that someone didn't do, someone did not do you wrong, not to say necessarily when you forgive somebody that didn't even do you wrong, right? The reason for that, so we can understand the deep root of what forgiveness actually is. It's not just the wording, like you said. It's not just, oh, I forgive you, because that would apply more to somebody doing you wrong and you being able to get past it. But what if they didn't do you wrong, right? So like I said, I was starting with apologies.
If they did do you wrong?
Well, if you did do me wrong, obviously I need to forgive you. But I'm saying if you didn't.
Oh, if you didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
So apologies, like I was saying before, because you say, you should apologize, so people say you should apologize. Even if the person...
Be the bigger person.
Yeah, be the bigger person.
No.
I'm just playing.
No.
Be the bigger person. Apologize even if you didn't necessarily do wrong, right? In the same way, and I think there's a certain context for that. We covered it. In the same way, you should choose to forgive someone even if they didn't do anything wrong. I forgive you for how I feel. Forgiveness isn't always about blame. Sometimes it's just about settling what's unsettled inside of you. So you have this feeling inside of you. You need to settle it. I have felt wronged before. And I thought about it. I feel a certain feeling. You ever had a dream? And they do this on like TV shows where you have a dream about somebody. And in that dream, they do you wrong. But they didn't necessarily do you wrong in real life. They didn't do you wrong in real life, but you feel that.
Oh, you know how many women have dreams about their spouse cheating on them, and they wake up and just slap the mess out of them?
And you, if you're not in the
cheated on me in my dreams.
See, that's what people don't realize. It's deeper than just the blame and trying to, I forgive you, I'm taking away the like we know forgiveness is for you to heal, right? I forgive you so you can let it go, so you can get reconciliation inside of yourself. So in the same way, somebody may not have done you wrong, and you just need to, you know what? That really offended me. But I know, see, that's a whole different level of understanding. When you know they weren't trying to do me wrong. They didn't do anything wrong. But it hurt for some reason. Like my boss may correct me on the job.
They not on here.
My boss may correct me on the job, and I may feel like, oh, I'm annoyed. But then I'm like, but I did do that. So I kind of have to just settle with that. And that's yes, it might not make sense to people to say the word I forgive you. It's not like that, but it's the same, like, I won't say spirit of the thing. It's the same like process that you have to go through. You could be hurt so bad by somebody that didn't even do you wrong, but you felt offended.
Sometimes
I said that sounds like humility. I think when you're forgiving, or I think more in your case, which specifically what you were talking about is kind of like accountability. But I think either way, it takes kind of the same heart posture of like, I'm humble enough to open up to the accountability. I'm humble enough to look at this situation and say like, oh, I need to forgive this. Like, I think it's humble enough to like look at your heart. I think pride a lot of times will stop us from even looking at the situation correctly. So yeah, that's kind of.
But then too, if you think about like just the whole concept of forgiveness, you know, I feel like this word, it could just have like a negative connotation because, you know, maybe it's something that really doesn't necessarily need to be said. Maybe it's more of an action, because it's more about understanding. Like my son, I went in the bathroom, bubbles all in the toilet, just overflowing.
You can't forgive that, man.
I'm like, you know, I could have just, you know, give me your PlayStation. Like, why would you sit here and make this mess? Like, you knew better. Mm-hmm. Instead, I'm like, you know, what happened? Well, I had stuff on my hands. I couldn't get it off. I kept using the soap. The soap wouldn't get it off. And then all the soap got in the sink. So I was trying to clean the sink. So I put it out, you know, tried to put it in the toilet. And then when I flushed the toilet, it just kept making more bubbles. So my bathroom's in a mess. I had just cleaned. It's like, and it's not really something he needed to say, like, Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. It was just, you explained yourself.
That would have been nice though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying,
need to apologize.
It's like, do we really need people
you saying against my toilet?
Like, if somebody does something to us, like, do they really need to say, I apologize? Or do they just really need to, hey, you know, that was not my intentions.
That's dependent to me.
Or, okay, say they
because am I is this a stranger? Like, either way, it's going to be up to us at the end of the day, regardless if they do apologize or not. It's going to be for our own health and well-being and our own heart that we forgive regardless. But I also think if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're never really apologizing, or they're always making you do all the work of forgiveness, and not saying you have to do it anyway, but it's like, you make it a lot easier if you just say, I'm sorry, and fix this behavior.
Take accountability.
Exactly. And so if you're not doing that, then
because what good is apologizing?
I may forgive you
if they keep
but
doing
I'm going to stop giving you access to me, because I got to keep healing and fixing and forgiving you when you never change. And so I think that's something that people don't understand. As a kid, because you're raising them, so you're going to have a lot of forgiveness.
But I'm saying, even for an adult.
But in relationships, though,
they can say,
I'm going to keep forgiving you, but I'm not going to have to keep forgiving you, because I'm not going to give you access anymore where I got to forgive you.
That's true.
Don't give your baby access to you.
I'm telling you.
That's what I'm saying. With babies, it's different.
Even in a relationship, I mean, you're going to go through some real trials
You have to be forgiving with your children,
but people,
and
just like you do with people.
Well, in a relationship, like you have people in relationships that's constantly, oh, I'm sorry, but you keep doing it and doing it and doing
exactly my point.
It's like at the end of the day, like when you're in a relationship, like I care about you and you care about me. Like this is a friendship.
Well, that will show in their behavior change too.
Yes.
You really care about me, you won't keep doing stuff where I got to keep forgiving you all the time.
But then it's like, you know, like say you're in a relationship and something, say y'all both lost a child, right?
Mm-hmm.
And say like your wife ended up on drugs. Like that is going to hurt you, and it's definitely going to affect the rest of your kids. But you have some type of empathy because you have some type of understanding. That could happen. That is not something you can look into the future and see like, oh, are you going to have a drug person? But hey, I care about you. Now you have boundaries. I have to protect myself
and the kids,
and I have to protect the kids. And I'm definitely, you know, and you, of course, I think that's a commitment you make. If something were to happen, like we need to choose the kids first. And you know, I will work with you as long as it's like I will help you as long as you help yourself, and vice versa. And so this is a friendship. I'm not going to blame you, and I'm not going to be mad at you, and I'm not going to sit here and yell at you because you got onto drugs. I will do as much as I can to help you because I care about you. But then when it's too much and it's actually hurting me and the children, like you have to, I have to let you go, but I still care about you. And
yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand is like a lot of people equate love and access as the same thing. Just because I love you doesn't mean I have to give you access to me.
Exactly.
And so even in that situation, it's like you're turning to behavior that is destroying yourself, destroying me. It's like putting a load on me, and it's putting a load on the kids. So yeah, I still love you, but it doesn't mean that I have to continue to be abused by you. And I'm not talking about physical abuse, but if you're on drugs,
to do anything.
You're probably doing some stuff to them. I mean, that in itself, you're not able to regularly like live your life properly.
You're not fighting to have a life. And if you want to be with me, like I'm a living person, you have to fight to be a living person.
Exactly.
Sometimes the sign of love is refusing access.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you
love
give
to yourself,
and that's the love that really hurts. That I care about you too much to let you constantly be in a destructive place.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're in a place with me, and if I allow access to you, I'm not helping you. If I keep giving you money, I'm feeding your bad habit.
Exactly.
That's not love.
That's not love.
That's
You're right.
Not wanting to feel bad. That's people pleasing, enabling. And that's why I know that, and this came to me while y'all were talking, there's a spirit of legalism behind certain apologies.
Talk about it.
We say the word apologize like that's the most important thing.
Exactly.
But the heart of an apology is what I would rather have.
Exactly.
Like people do stuff bad to me sometimes, and I'm like, I don't want your apology. If you do better, I will feel way better about this situation.
But I'll take both.
I'll take both, but
I
want a real one.
Exactly.
I want a sincere, and it's not you. How do you think God feels, right? And I'm telling you, God,
I know,
God
right?
has forgiven me, boy. And I'm telling you, the first step, you have to know how to forgive somebody else, because God told us to forgive 70 times 7. And that's just a number to say, hey, I forgave you for everything you did. Mm-hmm. So the way that God forgave us, and we come to him saying, I'm sorry, God. I'm so over and over and over and over again. And God keeps forgiving us. I don't know how he don't just light us on fire and send us to hell, man.
Understanding for us.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's because he came down here, he experienced flesh, and he
I couldn't even lie about it, man. We keep pushing.
I think he experienced flesh, and
conversation
so
hot.
that flesh gave him understanding of how we really feel. Like he got to feel emotions, he got to feel aggression, you know, and so that is how he forgives us, through understanding.
You know, and he don't want a legalistic apology.
He gave us grace. What is grace? Is that not empathy?
Yeah.
Grace is giving you what you don't deserve, or giving you what you
mercy
giving you what you don't deserve.
Mercy is not giving you what you
do deserve, and grace is giving you what you don't deserve.
Hey, mercy is him keeping you from the danger zone, and grace is him giving you the
I was saying, is that messing up the mic?
I don't think so.
We'll probably just give it a little 5-10 minute run.
But we'll do this.
Ain't too much going on.
So I want to get into a few of these.
That's
just so we got past the legalistic apologies, the legalistic forgiveness of us just saying we forgive.
I just had one more thing to say with that too, and it's real quick. The legalistic apologies, you will know an apology is sincere by the action that comes from it afterwards. If you tell me you're sorry, don't tell me you're sorry if you're not going to change the behavior. It's no point at that time. It's like, okay, you told me you're sorry, but you're going to keep doing it. You're not really sorry. True, sincere apology comes with change on the end of it. And so you'll know if it's legalistic and coming from a place of like legalism, if they don't actually change the behavior. But that's all I have to say.
And also, if it's just too difficult for you to change, then hey, just let me know, and let's
possible.
Categorize each other the right way.
People not
too many people gonna do that, but that's
to change. Like, what makes people like really stuck in their ways, and where they don't care to even understand? Like when you have women, one thing that
could be a chemical imbalance. I'm not saying I've had that prepared before she said the word women. It wasn't about women.
No. I was gonna
people
say
in general. I don't know. I be thinking it's a chemical imbalance, and it's like, yo, you might need to eat some more avocados or something.
No, I was gonna say like one thing that's big on me is like women who want to get abortions, right? And people can be so hateful towards them and angry. How could you kill your baby? You know, and it's like they don't want to understand on a personal level with one person, like this, you know, not looking at it as like a delete that one. This
don't let it pop up.
Can I say that word?
Not you.
Can you say what?
Nope.
You can't say that.
No, it's not that. It's just something else.
So it's
just
like,
don't click it. It's whatever.
It's like I think people may look at it like in a whole, like these women get abortions. They want to do it. They find joy in it because they see things on the news where women are holding up like these signs. But it's like, it comes down to like a personal level. Like this woman, maybe she was married and her husband went and cheated on her and she found out she was pregnant and he's run off with another woman. And now she's like, I don't want to bring this baby into this world without two parents. You know, you don't know what that woman is going through, but they can be like, it doesn't matter. I don't want to know. I don't want to know their story. It's wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like, what makes a person not want to know the story? Because I don't want to have empathy for anybody.
Well, that's, to me, I know it's a little side, but I just feel like people, well, you ask kind of about like, why don't people want to change? But I think why people don't want understanding is empathy. It's just, honestly, it's just easier. It's easier to see them as them. It's easier to see that's their problem. That's what they're going through. It's easier to see people as evil. And I think it's so easy to gossip and just talk about people and to like kind of frame them up as whatever you want them to see. It's much harder to really have conversations with people that go past like surface levels and really explore that person. So I think that's why people don't do that. It's a lot easier. But why people don't change, I haven't figured that one out yet, but I just stay away from them.
You know what it is? It's really accountability part, it hurts. It stings. We've all been there where we had to understand our problem.
Pride.
And that part is hard. So even when it comes to, like you said, it really goes hand in hand. When you see someone else that has the wrong mindset, like they want to have abortions, and we see them as evil instead of seeing them how they really are, in a hole trying to get out. But the reason we can't see them in a hole trying to get out is because we're in a hole. So if we can't get ourselves out of our hole, we can't look at them and see, like, I'm thinking about the movie Holes, where
I hate that movie.
You hate that movie?
I don't like all them hoes.
Oh,
they zoom out.
I feel that.
I don't even know why you should say that.
But anyways, you
trigger me.
You just imagine somebody. You just imagine somebody in a well. A well
in the belly of a whale.
In a well, somebody like
3 days.
But
3 nights.
But you can't see somebody else in their dirt because you're in yours. So you don't want to look around and see that you're in dirt because you don't want to do the work that it takes to change that. So you want to keep telling yourself, I'm good.
But
so
they
now
know,
you're blinded.
They know that. They know.
Let's say the blind lead the blind.
They both gonna fall into it.
So,
but it's like so everybody doesn't. I don't know what the word would be, but you don't have the same saying going to Chick-fil-A and not get the cookies. It would be harder for you than say Coach Greg. It's not the same. What would that be?
I mean, we're not in the same place in our process.
Well, like, it's something that's easy for you to do. It could be extremely difficult for somebody else. And so you could look at it like killing somebody. Can I say serial?
You say
just say unalive.
Huh?
You say the letters or something.
Like SK. Yeah. Like they have
serial unalivers.
They have a hard time not doing it versus
Nothing,
you.
I don't want anything. Sorry.
You would be like, there's no way like I would do that. Like I have no issue.
Some people are homicidal.
Yeah, like it's really that. And so when we don't have that understanding that what may be easy, like it's harder for me to pass up a donut if I see Krispy Kreme and to drive past it than it is for you to do it. Like it's like it doesn't make sense. So if I'm pregnant and I know I definitely would never consider that. So how could somebody ever considered getting an abortion? It's like
the problem is like it's some very like we're getting in some really deep territory. But okay, so the problem with that, like you're right. When you seek to understand, people will look at you like they looked at Jesus. When you seek to understand people, they automatically assume that you're agreeing. But how do you change people? If somebody's in a maze, you need to be able to look at that maze and be like, all right, let me study this thing for a second. You need to go this way, you need to go that way. But if you're looking over and you're just like, you dummy, you got to go this way and that way. Like, bro, you are at a place where you're out of it and you don't want to take a second to look at their situation to see what they can't see where to go. They don't know. And you don't know where to go either. Yeah. If you were in that same maze, you wouldn't know what to do. But if somebody that can help them is somebody that was in the maze and they made it out, and while they were going, they were like, you know what? I'm about to help somebody else out of this.
They don't want to go into the maze with them. And see, that's the problem. No. Is you shouldn't be trying to give advice to anybody that you're not willing to go there, because the first thing, nobody is going to listen to you if you can't even come from a place of love first. If somebody is wanting to get an abortion, my job is not to try to talk you out of it. If I come across you, my job is to love you and get to know you and be genuine. My relationship, if I want to take the time to build a relationship with you because I see that you're hurting, I want to provide love, You're not looking for an answer from me. You're not looking for somebody to tell you what you do not need to do. You're looking for obviously somebody to actually care about you. These people that stand at these clinics with these signs, they don't care about the woman. We just want your baby.
Well, I won't say all of them.
I
think there's a certain way that most of them look, and maybe like a certain approach that they have. And yes, they do.
Read signs.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that. I mean, because I saw the episode on Jubilee where Lila Rose was on there. I think she handled herself pretty well. And she gave off to me that she cared about the women.
But even being like protesters being at like pride parades, it's like you're not trying to have a real true relationship with these people. Do you think Jesus, when he went to eat with the sinners, do you think he just went to go tell them the things that they were doing that wasn't good? Do you think he just went and said, God loves you, I just want to tell y'all God loves you? Or did he build a relationship with them? People, you don't see people actually saying, I really want to get to know you. No, they don't. They just I want to convert you real quick in 24 hours.
Your sexual identity or whatever is not the only thing that you are. So this is another point. Like, when it comes to, like, when you get to know somebody, like, it's just, I know you said like the goal is not to like go up there to
convert,
to stop them from doing it, but at some point, yes, I would say that is the goal.
Why?
But
why is that the goal? Why do you want to stop them from doing it?
Because it's an evil thing to do.
Is it?
Yes.
How?
Because if the baby has a soul and you kill it,
we don't even know
it's
that.
a terrible thing. But
and it's not even in the Bible.
But see, the approach, yes, it says he knows you from your mother's womb. So if he knows me from my mother's womb, before your mother's womb.
Exactly. But they don't tell you when he put you in there.
What I'm saying is, when I say it's an evil thing to do, I'm not saying that the mother is just evil. There could be a misunderstanding.
Because he also allows miscarriages.
She's been fed lies. The woman has been fed lies to think that this is the best way to deal with that situation. They've been lying to them.
Could be the best
way.
The
whole point of the whole organization was to lower the population of Black people. So when you talk about abortions in whole, it's a very evil process. How it started, even biblically.
But that's what I'm saying. You can't look at it that way.
You can't look at the people that way.
You can't look at it as a whole.
Abortion
it's a personal
is what I'm talking about. That's evil. The people, it's a little nuance there because they've been fed lies, and that's like me looking at a struggling person and saying you're evil. No. What you did was sin. That's why we love the person, but we hate the sin.
I don't know.
I'm hating the thing that is taking away the chance for that child to live, but I don't call the woman who did it evil because I don't know her.
What about children that are born into toxic environments?
It would be better that they're alive and let God make the decision for their life.
I think that's just something that you haven't wrestled with yet, though. Like,
I just don't think we can say. I don't think that we can.
This would be more so of.
I don't think sins are heaven and hell issues.
What we're saying is.
Well, I'm saying, is it a sin?
It would be more so you're like
this is God.
We're going off of a basis of what we believe in, like from a biblical standpoint. But everybody is going to be things in the Bible that people are going to wrestle with, and I think this is one of the things that you're wrestling with, that you may just not agree with. And it doesn't mean that we saying you're right. I just think you don't agree with it. But biblically speaking, abortions are wrong. That's just a fact. But you may just not have got to that place yet where it resonates with you enough.
I don't think that
you don't think the Bible
talks about shedding innocent blood.
No, I don't think that abortions are like, oh, go have one. They're perfectly fine. Like, no, I don't think that
in what context does God approve of it?
No. That's what I'm saying. I said, I don't think that they're good. Like, I don't say that they're good. Well, I can say that they are not.
What are we not agreeing on then?
The fact that I'm not going to go if a woman.
You're talking about the approach. I agree with you. The approach needs to change.
The approach
but
needs
what
to
I'm
change.
saying is, I'm not, when I say the abortions are evil, I'm not saying I'm going to go up there and tell them that.
If there's
that's just, we're talking in this podcast room. That's what it is. I'm not going to go protest and say what you're doing is evil. Those are two different statements.
But if you see something wrong with the way that it's being done, the best thing to do is to, Dr. Sydney Trim says this. She says, when I look at the world, what's one thing I can change about myself that will help change the world? And I think that if you're seeing such a, like, if it's such a thing driving in you about it, that could be an inclination that, like, this may be something I want to explore in.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to get into this.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But like,
you sound like you do.
No.
Because I agree. Like, people, the way they, but that's just not even abortions. That's with everything. Yeah. With the way people. So maybe that would be the basis. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, we may not agree with abortions, but yeah, I would say that, like, the way people handle abortions, LGBTQ, people who just, people who do drugs, people who
they're judgy. They come from a judgmental place. And so
I can agree with that, but it doesn't mean that just because they're judging something that is wrong doesn't mean, like, they may be doing it a wrong way, doesn't mean the thing that they're judging is wrong.
Because they really could care. Though. Like, I do believe there is some people that it may be going about it the wrong way. They do care, and they are, like, it was a girl that worked at Publix, and she hated it because she had to sell cigarettes. And so every time someone buy a beer and cigarettes, she'd be like, "Do you really want this? Like, are you sure?" She quit.
Yeah.
But it was the fact that she pissed a lot of people off. And did she go about it the wrong way? Yes. But she really felt passionate about that. Like, it wasn't from a place of judging. She really, like, I don't want you to do this.
But she was using her passion in the wrong place.
Exactly.
You don't get, if you're going to work for a job, it's like, you don't get to cut sales.
But
it's like,
but I
go
can
handle it.
Both. I can understand her and.
Well, I get her. I think she might have just found her passion in, who I think is good. But I still don't agree with the method
because
of, like,
the person that was mad,
because it could be shaming people. It could come off as shaming people who do smoke cigarettes.
Exactly.
And so it's like,
because you don't understand their struggle.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so even with this, like, when you have a woman that's
but I think some women do understand. I think some women who had every woman has the, well, not every woman, but a lot of women have the choice of abortion in America, at least, or in blue states, liberal states, whatever. I think there are a lot of women who do understand the struggle,
and they lie about it.
Especially no, I wasn't going to say that.
When they've thought about it
some
themselves.
Do, but you're talking from you're talking from the standpoint of the negative people. I'm talking from the standpoint there are positive women out here who could have had the abortion, and they're talking from a place of love and understanding because they could have did it themselves,
and they made the choice. That's
so
true.
It's both sides.
They don't think about the baby inside of the womb as people who, and I'm not saying that women that are pro-choice hate their babies. Like, I'm just saying I don't think they look at it from the same lens as a pro-life person thinking like you're taking the life of a 1-year-old. Like, it's very similar to them. It's very similar to me. I look at abortion the same way. It's similar as taking the life of someone who's already born.
Oh yeah, I don't look at it that way.
See what I'm saying?
Because you're looking at a blastocyst, a ball of cells that hasn't even formed.
But see, that's what I'm saying. That's where I talk about we disagree.
What are we?
Because in the Bible, it does say in Jeremiah, it says, "When I formed you before." What did it say? I formed you before you was in your mother's womb, which means. Well, you're thinking about flesh, like from a ball.
There's a DNA. There's
a spirit.
Already the color.
When does the spirit enter the person?
The DNA.
The
you
pattern
have
ball.
When does the spirit enter the person?
You have the cell in you right now. They can't even make a baby.
I'm a ball of cells.
But what I'm saying is, he said he formed us before. But this is what I'm saying. That's just the disagreement. Like,
but we have
that's just something we're not going to see eye to eye on.
But I'm saying we have a choice to even make the baby. Like, we don't have to. Like, there's also a scripture where he got punished for letting his stuff come on the ground instead of going into the woman.
That wasn't dealing with his action. That was dealing more so with his heart posture, because
and even that, there's no conception there.
It was something. It was being disobedient. That's what it more so was about, because he was being disobedient.
There's no souls. There's no souls that happen before conception.
It will get me when you talk about the actual abortion where they have to like go in with the steps and do like.
So you just agree with early term abortions? Like early term,
like before it actually forms,
which 3 weeks, 4 weeks,
where it's not even,
which is fine.
Where it's just a zygote, where when it's that form and you can take the pill.
How many weeks?
I think when can you take the pill?
2 weeks, like 4 weeks, which a lot of don't find out until then.
No, you have time before where you can actually take the pill to stop it from forming.
Don't you think it's just our opinion of when it's a real baby and when it's not? Like, don't you think it's
what do you do?
It's just how I feel about it.
What do you do when you find out? Like,
it's very small, so it doesn't mean as much to me. Don't you think that's like kind of not really considering God's view about it? It's kind of like, this is how I feel. Like if you're driving on the street and you see something in the road and it could be a human, but you don't know, are you just going to drive through it? Or are you going to be like, well, let me just err on the side of caution and save the thing? Like, we don't think about it, even consider for real. How does God see that you gave it a DNA and all this potential and I'm killing it? You see what I'm saying? We don't think about it from that. We don't even consider it because it hurts too much to see our own dirt. And we're not evil because everybody does it. But we have some things we got to work on. I have some things I got to work on.
I just look at kind of what Ashley said. I just think of God as like the creator. Like, he writes it before and after. Yeah. So it's like he already knows when he. But again, this is just like disagreements on a belief level. At the end of the day, I think we all agree on. We supposed to be talking about forgiveness. I think this is disagreement on a belief level. But at the end of the day, I think we all agree on the fact of, should these people be treated right? I think everybody agrees on that. Should
be treated with love.
Exactly. So we all agree on that.
If we don't agree with their approach,
even if we don't agree with their decisions and stuff like that, I think we all agree with that.
Your baby is missing.
How do we get here?
2 chromosomes.
Then you got to talk. Then you got to talk on, do we agree that the government should have anything to do with it? Then do we agree with the church? And so this is a whole like.
This is how we got on this.
Yeah, this is for another pod anyway.
You said should we? You said just because we might not agree doesn't mean that people don't want to have understanding because they feel like if they have understanding, I have to agree. I don't agree with abortion, but I do have understanding for women that do, and I'm not going to mistreat them.
Kind of sounds like you're okay with it a little bit. The way you were just talking before.
Because I understand.
Well, yeah, because you said the zygote.
You said.
But that's the thing. I understand too. I understand from the level that I can.
Like, says it's a ball of cells.
I mean, if you look at it,
usually when you go down that path,
you can't tell.
We're all a ball of cells.
Yeah, but you can't tell an octopus from a human at that point. Like, it can form into anything.
I mean, you're right. You might can't tell, but you know it's not coming from. You know, octopus not coming from you.
But what it is like when you find out, like the doctor tells you, like your baby is missing 2 chromosomes. That means it is not fit. It could or it could have
yes, but you're talking about very rare cases or something.
No, but a lot of women do.
But we're still talking about does it have less worth?
Yeah,
because of that.
It's gonna suffer, and it's like some women make the decision like I don't.
But don't we all suffer?
Yeah, but do you want to bring a child in this world and watch the child suffer?
What you're saying? Are you saying? I understand. I understand that the women who are going through these thoughts. They're very real thoughts. They're very fearful thoughts as well. And I'm not saying that like I'm not understanding of that because this is a world where you're gonna suffer in. So I get it. I still don't agree with the suffering.
Tell me that my baby has something.
Have you ever seen the movie Arrival?
No.
In the movie, she knew that the baby was gonna die at 7 years old from cancer, and she still ended up having a baby.
I'm not doing that.
You're right. You're not.
That's
crazy.
But
I'm saying, I think. That's my favorite movie too, by the way. I felt that because I was like,
watch it again because I didn't even see all that in there.
Yeah. It really is funny because it really was about aliens, but the aliens was like they could be before and after. So they was giving her
I'm gonna have to
visions.
watch that again.
And so she had a baby and died at like 7 years old, but she still chose to have the baby.
Why did it suffer?
Because sometimes your greatest joy is also going to have the other side of the greatest pain.
My greatest joy cannot be to watch a child
I want to ask you a question, but I'm not going to ask you the question.
To watch, but is that child suffering? That's what I'm saying.
Because you have children now, you telling me you wouldn't have them if you knew that the age they was going to pass.
If I knew that they were going to suffer,
they're going to suffer.
No, they're going to suffer and being. Have you ever?
If you knew the age that your babies was going to pass away, you wouldn't have them.
No.
Oh, I would. So I don't know.
Because I can't. Why I can't do if I can. I wouldn't bring a child into this world when I know that child is going to suffer.
This is what I'm gonna say. So
I don't want to see a your child babies. Suffer.
We're going to.
See, do you know what it's like?
Okay, so it's up to you for your limit of suffering. Yes,
like,
I do.
You know how heartbreaking it is.
It is. Like, I have a child. I know it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Just to see her sick for a couple days.
You're right. I don't like it. She get a little rash. It be.
And so imagine it's just for months.
So it just depends on you. For you, it's your level of suffering.
And they're not smiling.
But you're making that choice.
No, I don't.
Yes, you are.
This is a deeper thing.
But we're not supposed to be talking about this.
This is first of all, this is way deeper than that. Like, I have compassion and understanding for people who. I say to make the tough decision, but I don't mean like out of convenience. Like what you're talking about specifically.
Out of convenience, that's a different subject.
Right. So I feel like we all agree there.
For myself, like you knew you shouldn't have been messing with this man in the first place.
I'm pretty sure we all agree the convenience thing is just going crazy.
She do. I have empathy.
But
just a little
for
different
certain
empathy.
situations, I will say, and I don't mean if they're just like, if they have like a mental disability or something,
issues.
That's not okay. But like knowing that the baby is just only going to say, okay, I have a little bit of understanding. And just because I can understand and have compassion does not mean I agree with it.
And then the people that's going to be sitting here telling like, God doesn't want you to do that. I bet you ain't going to stay with me and help me at nighttime with my baby.
You're right. I agree with that too. I agree with that part.
If my child goes through a traumatic situation, and we ain't gonna talk about what it could be, y'all know, and then they have to have a baby. Of course, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do right now. It's a tough thing to do, but I would hope that God would lead me to make the decision that not man, but that God would lead me to make the right decision. But I'm just saying, I understand it's hard. I get that.
I'm not taking that away. Pray with you. You want people to support you.
But I would want to go to God and say, God, this is a very tough thing for me to do, but I want to do what you want me to do. And we have to be able, people have given their lives. People have given their lives for this country, for us, for other people. They've given their lives. And that's a very tough thing. They've had to give up other people because that was the only way for, they've had to do. There was, the whole train thing where the dude had to either let his son die because he was stuck on the tracks, or that may be made up, but I'm just saying there. So I get it. There are moments where we have to really pray, and everybody ain't got the heart to do what's right.
And you want people to pray with you.
I'm not gonna condemn you. I'm just gonna say, let's adapt and try to get better, because I make mistakes too.
You want people to pray with you. You don't want people to say.
Let's read some of these comments real quick.
How we got so many comments?
We need to move back to forgiveness, because we're
gonna go back to forgiveness because this is a whole nother. I mean, we got some content. Who cares? So you can click some of them and pop them up on the screen, Jesse. You just click it. Just don't click the last one, because I don't know what they got going on. Nisi Beauty. It's easier said than done. I know. Talking about forgiveness is
I like
she ain't
this.
talking about what.
Is it a feeling?
Anything. A lot of things is easier said than done.
Is it a feeling that you forgive them, or what's the next one? Let's see. It's just making up in your mind. I forgive.
That was a question.
This person, even though you don't feel it. That's true. Sometimes you don't feel it.
You have to feel it.
No, but sometimes you may not feel it. But we'll get into it in a second.
I don't think that's true forgiveness.
I feel like there's some nuance in that. I get what she's saying, but I get what you're saying too. Dally Bone, what's up? Studies show light enters the womb. The second cells come together, creating a baby. The spirit entering.
The what? Say that again.
They have it, Brittany. You're wrong.
Say that again.
Dally Bone says studies show light enters the womb. The second cells come together, creating the baby. She's talking about. Oh, maybe she meant life. She said life, and I read it wrong.
no, she wrote light, but I'm sure she meant life because light wouldn't make any sense.
Enters the womb, the second cells come together. She's talking about
the spirit
conception.
Light.
Maybe she is talking about light. But anyways, we're not gonna get on abortion because that's a whole nother topic for another
podcast
episode. We got a plan for that because I ain't even got no notes on it or nothing. I'm
bringing
from the hip.
my science on that.
I don't like shooting from the hip. I like to be prepared.
I'm studying that now.
But what she said about forgiveness and I do believe to some extent you have to practice certain things in order to feel it.
Yeah.
But yes, you need to get to a point where you're for real. Like it could be a process. So you're like, you know what? Just getting to the place where you can say it may be your first step.
Yeah.
And then, so I definitely agree that you have to be in a mindset of forgiveness, even though you may not feel it yet. But before we, dig into all that, because we'll go back to it. I want to go to this real quick. Luke 6:38 is a very misunderstood verse.
You gotta go to the NIV version.
I went to the NKJV, so it takes the thousands of lessons and the shouts out. I ain't even
finna mess with y'all today.
But Luke 6:38, give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be put into your bosom. For with the same measure that you use, it will be measured back to you. Do you know this is not talking about money?
Yes.
A lot of this is talking about forgiveness. And we always hear this during the tithes and taking up the offerings. But Luke 6:37, judge not. This is the verse before it. Judge not, and you shall not be judged. Condemn not, and you shall not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your bosom. For with the same measure that you use, it will be measured back to you. People think that the more you give in tithes and offering, the more you're going to receive. And that is not what the Bible's talking. And we ain't going too far on money, but I'm just saying.
Say that again.
Forgiveness. When you give forgiveness, do you understand you are unlocking doors for other people to activate that as well? When they haven't seen the love. It's contagious. Now, some people, hey, if you get sick, everybody around you ain't gonna get sick. It's gonna hit some people though. But it causes a domino effect. And when you show people how to forgive, oh man, nobody's ever given me a chance after I did them wrong. So I just felt like, who cares? I'm just gonna do what I want. Nobody ever gave me the chance.
Well, it'll.
They always condemn me. So I just feel like I'm just a bad person. I'm just gonna let it rock.
What's the word? Jesse might know this word. When you actually forgive somebody, it almost holds them accountable to, to be able to, hey, somebody forgave me.
Oh yeah, so Dally Bone, my bad. She said, no, they showed the womb, literally light enters. Okay,
light
so she was
enters.
Saying light. Yeah.
Light enters.
Interesting. But we're not gonna get caught up on it. That's a good thing to, look into later.
I can see that. I know where to look.
Exactly. So now Brittany is totally against all that. And she's gonna be up there at the protest.
I was against those people. I will put that out. I am against it. I do not believe that it is okay. But I have understanding that people that do make that decision, I have compassion and I have love for that person. I would never mistreat that person because that is not an easy decision to make. Anybody who can go and freely just say, like when they get those cakes and they say like aborted, like that's not funny. So
yeah, I saw a woman had a t-shirt that said I had 21 abortions. I was like, sucker.
Oh Lord.
Because now I gotta go pray.
See, that just hurts my feelings, to be honest. It just hurts my heart.
But you're damaging yourself.
It hurt my heart for the baby and it hurt my heart for them. That's what people don't get.
Not if them babies get a free ride.
Okay. What would you say? Because we about to go off topic.
Anyways, yeah. Forgive.
What would you say? You say I don't know what word.
It gives
some word that
when
Jesse
you forgive
would know
somebody, it almost gives them like makes them have accountability. They can't have that attitude where I can do what I want because ain't nobody ever forgive me. Like they don't care about me. Yeah. So when somebody actually does care about them and has forgiven them, it's like I can't
just spark the light in them.
I don't have an excuse to be a hole anymore.
We still need this. Just let me know. Because we'll turn it off as soon as we can.
You can turn it off.
All right, yeah. Yeah, so, and it's important to hit the button the right way when you turn off the AC. Okay, so when people apologize and they need that forgiveness, like it's like I was saying, you may feel like you didn't do me wrong. Like you have to think about this all different ways, because this is something I have seen, and oh my goodness, it bothers me and it causes me to cringe, man. I hate it. People, like, you feel like you didn't do me anything wrong. I wasn't offended by what you did. And they try to apologize to you. And you say, oh, no, you don't have to apologize. Yes, you do have to apologize. It's not for me. You have to apologize because you need healing. If you feel like if I feel like you didn't do me wrong, I need to let you get that out. Like, I can't stand people think they have good intentions. They feel like they want to just cover it up so quick. Oh, no, you're good. You don't have to do that. Just, if people want to apologize, let them get that out. Listen to them. They did all this work to come to you and apologize, and you shut it down. You think, and I know it's good intentions. You want to let them feel assured, but this is a process. They need to get clear. Now, what they did, they felt that they wanted to release something, and you just told them, no, you don't have to do that. You just made them keep it, and they went home with it. That's terrible, man.
But then too, you don't want to make them feel like condemnation.
Yeah, it's almost like you're refusing their apology. It feels that way.
Well, too, you don't want to.
I don't think that's condemnation, though.
Well, condemnation is
talking about how they feel
when
because I feel like that's why they could do it, because they're like, oh, I'm not condemning you. You're good. But it's like, I agree. You should allow people the room to try to do right what they did wrong. You know what I'm saying? Or like make do and show they have remorse for what
you're saying, they could feel condemned.
Well, they could be trying to apologize. Like, if we're like, no, you don't have to apologize for that. Like, some people are nitpicking at themselves, feeling like I did something that I shouldn't have done.
Can feel they're condemning themselves.
And it's really like, no, don't do that to yourself.
Don't be shameful,
because you didn't really, like, that didn't affect me.
Yeah.
And so you don't want, you probably do want to stop. I guess it would depend on the situation.
You could also say, you could let them get the apology. You could be like, I'm glad that you got that out. I just want to let you know it didn't hurt me the way you felt it did. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate you being honest. I do appreciate you being honest. You know what I'm saying?
About how you felt.
Yeah. So I think that's a good approach.
I'm glad that I was able to receive that, so you could have
the safe space to get it out.
I want you to feel healed. I want you to have
or maybe
I want you to be blessed and move on with your life in the best way. So I'm so glad that but it's almost just like, to me, it's more like a charisma tactic, if you will. Like there's a way that you can, like, if you're telling me something and I agree, some people have the habit to say, oh no, but why are you saying no? You basically just told me you agree with me, but you said no habitually, and it kind of dismissed everything that I said. So it makes me feel kind of disrespected. So it's just more of like there's something weighing heavy on their heart. It's like if I get you a gift and then you say, oh no, you don't have to get me anything. Take it back. I went and shopped for this. I brought it to you. I wrapped it and I gave it to you. And then you told me no.
So it would be like that with an apology.
See, I would feel like the person that's not receiving it, you have a hard time accepting things. Because I would be like, let me do this. Like, give me the space to bring this to you and just accept it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it could be crazy people that's like doing too much, and it's like, you got to stop that at some point.
Well, then too,
but that's different.
But if it's like
for the most part, general, like, just like, accept it.
Like, let me give you this. You know what I'm saying?
But then this one we get a lot is we get a prideful apology where they're like, that they're apologizing, but they're really like, I'm being the bigger person. I'm apologizing, even though I know I didn't do nothing wrong. And when we know you did do something wrong, You don't want to admit it. They have that type of apology. Like,
are you talking about like almost like a passive aggressive apology?
That's the most petty thing, bro.
And it's like you're not taking accountability of what you did. Like, it's like, what is that? Like, it's like, what do you
do an example just so the people know?
No.
Hey, I'm sorry for how I made you feel, but I was just saying the way you talked to me.
Oh my goodness.
You just shouldn't have talked to me that way. Then I wouldn't have had to do that. It's like,
did you just apologize or did you just gaslight
apology did not have the heart behind it.
I'm sorry that I've ruined your life.
Legalistic apologies 101.
Well, that's victimizing, and you just did gaslight apology.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
I was giving an example.
Yeah. Nah, because it's like you didn't
my brother just called me a gaslighter.
No, because it's like you're not really apologizing because you changed. You're trying to almost make it seem like I'm doing too much by trying to get, not even that I'm trying to get the apology from you, but it's like you're trying to make it seem like, so that's a gaslighting apology. It's like you're trying to make me question my own reality about the stuff that you did to me that you know is wrong, but now you're trying to use passive aggressiveness to make it seem like you didn't really do something wrong, and I'm just out of like
that one to make you question your own self.
I can't forgive nobody like that.
Yeah, and then you just did the victim like, oh, it's just all me. It's like, don't victimize it. Take accountability.
Yes,
and don't try to victimize the apology. Mm-hmm. Just stand 10 toes on it and be like, you know what, I did mess up.
But they cannot see it. They don't want to see it. They don't want to admit that I did something wrong. That people don't want to take accountability. They don't want to find that empathy. That they might have hurt you, and it's not a bad thing when you can tell somebody, hey, the way you said that, it really did hurt my feelings,
That's real.
Yeah.
And people don't know how to accept that. Like, what does that mean for them?
Isn't that a tough thing to, when I find that someone is apologizing to me in the wrong way, or they don't apologize, or they're constantly saying, you hurt my feelings, you need to apologize. And I'm like, I didn't do anything wrong. I try to think about like, okay,
I don't like that.
Do I do anything like that? I have to cover my bases, because like, do I have a problem apologizing to people? Do I have a problem like accepting people's apologies, or do I have a problem forgiving people? Do I have I think about that like very intensely, because I know there are moments where I'm like, I kind of don't want to apologize because I'm offended. We were both offended. I don't want to apologize
because I don't want to take accountability. I don't want to look.
But then I'm just like, I can't even begin to apologize because I can't consider if I did anything wrong, or I can't consider your feelings. And I have to really take some time and think like, you're being childish and you should not be offended by what I did. But I'm like, you're not the same as me. So that is I would tell you, that is somewhat of a challenge. I don't think I'm the worst at it, but I do think that's something I really work on, because everybody is not as
mature.
They don't have an edge or what. I'm not even saying I'm like this hard dude, but I'm just saying everybody cannot deal with the stuff that I can. I can make jokes. I can take jokes. I am the one that can dish it out and take it. I'm that type of person. But some people just can't do that. And I'm like, they have their issues, but I still need to be able to look at them and say, you're not the same as me. You can't handle the same things as I can. I apologize for offending you.
But
sincerely,
it really, people really have to like know how to communicate to really get an apology. Like if they feel like, people hurt me and people do these things to me and they don't apologize, they don't know because you don't tell them. I have learned to be able to say, because this is what we do. When somebody hurts us, well, how can I hurt them? How can I make them feel the way that they make me feel? How can I get back at them? Because I'm too prideful to say, this hurt my feelings. Mm-hmm. So I've learned to say, hey, like when you said this to me, like either I can let it go, because I let a lot of stuff go because I know like they don't understand. But when I do find myself talking to, especially like in my marriage, I can say when you said that, like that really hurt my feelings. And then that opens up the room for an apology. You know, a lot of times we don't open up the room for an apology. I got to get back at them. And now we're both wrong. So then nobody gets an apology.
It's a challenge not to be passive aggressive in certain scenarios. Some people, it's just free, it's just easy. And, you know, but with certain people, I'm not going to lie, it's a challenge not to be passive aggressive, because sometimes the direct method is too bold, right? It should be easy, but sometimes the direct method is too bold. So when you're dealing with someone who can't take that directness, then we go to being passive aggressive. And then I'm like, okay, we probably are still casting our pearls before swine. Why do we do that? We should, I mean, it's because we're trying to, even in just a regular conversation, certain people can bring that out of you where it's like, I don't want bad intentions right now, but bro, I just want to let them know what they did. But I can't just tell them because they're going to they're not listening. When people aren't listening, that's when that passive aggressiveness will sneak out on you. And you'll be thinking you're not passive aggressive, and it'll come out on you because somebody ain't listening to you. So I say when people don't listen, you got to be careful that you don't step into that.
You got to start easing your way out.
You don't play their game.
Yeah, that's hard.
Because you being passive aggressive is you playing their game.
Because I'll fall right into that trap.
Yeah.
I think though
we got to see it in ourselves first.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say I think some of the things that y'all was talking about dealing with the passive aggressiveness, but if some like you, because what you said earlier, if somebody tells me you need to apologize, you're like some of the stuff you're saying, you can produce out of a person by the way you treat them sometimes. If you treat a person with love and they're like open to that, a lot of times you can get love back, right?
Exactly.
But if you treat a person like trash and then expect them just to love you back, or like, not saying they don't love you, but like treat you with respect and stuff like that, it's like, well, you're treating me like trash. And then you telling me you need to apologize. That's like controlling me. So you're trying to control my response to the way that I did something when I don't feel that way. So it's like a control, and it's like a gaslighting thing. Because now you're making me question my own reality about what I did. And then I don't even have time to process, how do I really feel about this? And sometimes I would just be like, I need like some time because you're wanting an apology. I don't think that what I did was wrong. So I need some time to step away to really process, and I'll come back to you.
That's why I don't like the word apology. And I don't feel like it's actually necessary to say those specific words. I apologize. I think it's more of an action.
Boy, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I like. I think I'd rather say, "Here, I'm sorry."
Agree, boy, we agree on
because
that.
It's more of an action, and it's just sitting down and being able to say, like, I'm like you said, you're gonna catch more flies.
And I ain't got no problem saying the word, but did that really help the situation?
Yeah, it's like if my husband says, calls me
stupid.
I was gonna say doo-doo brown.
Nah, don't bring. We ain't gotta bring that up.
But
just keep going.
Instead of me saying, I cannot believe you called me that. You know, you owe me an apology, and I'm not talking to you until I get one. Like, that's not gonna make him apologize. But if I go to him and be like, hey, you know, you was teasing me earlier and you called me this name, you know, it's an old family name, but it really hurts my feelings because my siblings used to
call. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna have to forgive. I'm gonna have to be, God, let me be in the spirit of forgiveness right now, Lord.
My siblings called me that, you know, it is just, you know, it really hurts my feelings. He's more going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, that was not my intentions. You know, I didn't know that affected you that way. You know, I'm not going to do that in the future. That's an apology without having to say the word apology, because I felt heard and I was able to communicate. I didn't need him to say, I apologize. I just need him to hear me. And I need some feedback to let me know that you heard me. empathy, some compassion. That's an apology
but,
to me.
Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you.
No, but just saying, well, I apologize.
I just did it right then.
That's not an apology.
I said, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you.
Good job, Jesse.
Then I opened the floor back up though. So what I did was I apologized, Jesse. And I gave her and I changed.
Yeah, good job. You changed your ways.
That's a perfect example right live. But you go ahead.
Continue. I know I'm dead.
Oh,
so there's some other like little statistics I want to talk about real quick. 62% of American adults say they need more forgiveness in their personal lives. This is the Barna Group, and more than 75% of people believe God has forgiven them, but only 52% have forgiven others. And this is another, Barna Group again. Research shows that people who are more forgiving live longer. Only about 4 in 10 people say they've ever actually forgiven someone for a serious offense. That's crazy.
How many? What was that percent?
4 out of 10. 4 in 10 people say they've ever actually I don't know if that has anything to do with like people actually feeling a serious offense. Maybe they felt a serious offense. Maybe it's the people that have felt a serious offense. 4 out of 10 people of them. I'm not sure. But so does forgiveness mean that I have to trust them again? No. And people think like, okay, I'm not ready to forgive, right? And I hear this statement and I understand it and I have compassion for it. Because you want to be in the place where you can do it for real. So when people say I'm not ready to forgive, I think, do you really know what forgiveness is? Like you say, it's almost like saying I'm not ready. Like what I hear behind it is I'm not ready to give them a second chance, or I'm not ready to say that to just forget about what they did to me, or I'm not ready to be good with them again. I'm like, forgiveness doesn't mean any of that.
Exactly.
Forgiveness is reconciling it within yourself. So going to them is, I would say, optional. It may be necessary to do it for real, but not in every case. Like you said, you can do forgiveness by yourself and with God. And you say, Lord, I forgive. It's like getting the Holy Ghost. Like you can get the Holy Ghost with the whole church congregation, but you can get it by yourself. So you can get healing and deliverance with your church. You can get it by yourself. But sometimes it helps to do it a certain way. It just depends on you and your relationship with the person, and you have to think about all that. So, and the hardest person a lot of times to forgive is who?
Yourself.
A lot of times that's the hardest person to forgive. And if you have, everybody has done some messed up stuff, and some people just don't want to let it go. They don't want to let it go. And you're a terrible person and you feel the condemnation. And, God's like, I've forgiven you for what you did. You haven't done it again, but you still feel condemned. And the other part, and that is such a tough thing to deal with. You feel so broken and hurt. And I cannot, because on one hand, you could say, you could be like, I'll say this, like, you could be too fast to forgive yourself. You could be too fast to forgive yourself and just be careless. On the other hand, you could never forgive yourself and be in condemnation. There's always a balance where you need to process this and say, I have apologized, but are you ready to move on with your life?
To go back to what you said before, that when you have to forgive somebody who
what now?
When you have to forgive somebody that hasn't really like apologized to you, or doesn't feel that you know that they're not sorry for what they did, and you, I think I had that experience, and I didn't, like, I know that they don't understand what they did wrong. They probably will never understand what they did wrong. But what they did was they crossed my boundaries that I knew that they were clear. And I know that because they haven't sought out forgiveness, that they don't feel bad about what they did, that means that they will continue to do that to me. And so even though I love them and I have empathy for them because I understand where they came from and what could have caused them to be this way. And so to me, that helped me forgive them. And then also, I have to love myself enough to have the boundaries. I have to love myself enough to have, like, put those boundaries up to like, I can't be around you because I can't let you continue to hurt me.
Exactly.
And then also, when you have to forgive yourself, a lot of people can't forgive themselves because they can't understand what makes me do this. Why am I this way? And when you can understand, like, okay, my childhood may have affected me and, it caused me to do this. I can change, this part about myself so that I can make better decisions. That is how you're going to start forgiving yourself, is when you start doing the work. Maybe it looks like therapy for you, to find understanding of what is causing me to be so mean to people that love me. What is causing me to even cheat on my spouse, or treat my kids like crap? Why am I this way? And then when you can start reaching out to resources and putting the work in, and you can start changing your ways, that is when you can forgive yourself. Yes, I did bad, but I know I didn't have the right tools to be better, and I'm willing to take accountability for that. Yes, I messed up, but I'm putting the work in to be better. That is how you're going to forgive yourself. If you don't do that and you just continue, well, I'm just mean and this is just how I was born, you will never be able to forgive yourself.
Yeah, I think well, I guess we both touching on 2 points, but that was good. I definitely agree with that about understanding yourself. I feel like people who really start to understand themselves, it's easier to forgive yourself for the things that you did, because it's not like, oh, I'm just an evil person and I'm just bad and I'm just this and that. It's like you actually start to understand, like, oh, I got some trauma here, or I need some healing in this area, or I'm broken in this area, and this is why I did some of the things I did. And I think that makes it a lot easier for people to look at themselves and be like, you know what, like, I got empathy for myself because I had to endure a lot of things, and a lot of the decisions I made was out of my brokenness. And so I forgive myself because I know that I'm trying to do better with myself. And then when you touched on, and another thing too, a lot of people, it's hard for them to forgive themselves because we're with ourselves all day. Like, I know every decision I make. I know every good and bad decision I make. I know every thought I have. I know every single thing that goes in my mind. I don't know that with everybody else. So a lot of times it's harder to look at ourselves in the mirror because we know everything about ourselves. Well, not everything about ourselves, but we know everything that we think. We know everything that we do. We know every action. And so that can make it hard because we have this microscopic, like, detail of all the stuff, all the negative things that we do. Yeah. And we don't give ourselves enough grace to be like, I am still human and I am going to struggle with things and I am still a work in progress. Yeah. Because life, I'm figuring it out day by day like everybody else. And I think people who can start to empathize more themselves and be like, I'm trying. I'm really trying to figure this out. It's easier to forgive themselves. But then the second part was, you was talking about forgiveness, dealing with other people. I think a lot of people don't understand that you don't need closure. Like, I don't need closure.
Yeah.
Of the stuff that happened to me. And a lot of people, where you talking about, they don't know when to I'm not ready to forgive. It's like you're saying, like, I'm not ready to release the hurt that was done to me.
I want to still feel this pain. I want to
still be angry. But it's like you're drinking poison. Like, you're drinking poison and thinking that the poison is going to, by hanging on to it, they're thinking that it's just going to be released. But it's like you're hanging on to it.
Because I'm going to free you if I forgive you. And I don't want you to be free.
And they think that they're freeing the person. I want you to be
punished.
By not forgiving them, but really you're just holding yourself bound. And it's like, you don't need closure of that person. That person doesn't have to apologize for me to forgive them. Because sometimes somebody can hurt you, they don't know. And other times people can hurt you and they don't care. So it's like, what happens when you in those situations? You know what I'm saying? Not saying you can't approach them, but it's like some people are not gonna care. It's been situations I know of, people done got killed. You know what I'm saying? And the person that's on trial does not care that he did that or that she did that. So it's like,
oh yeah,
what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? They're not showing any remorse. You've been betrayed. They're not showing any remorse. It's like you have to learn, oh, I don't need closure from them. I just need to accept the reality of what life is and release my heart from that and release the pain from that. You know what I'm saying? So
it's like a lot of the words like forgive and apologize. Those are the things that are so like cringy, and we just feel like that's what a good Christian would do. He would say forgive, and I'm not ready to be the good Christian. I'm not ready to say apologize and be the good Christian. No, the definition, if you look up the definition of what forgiveness is, it's to reconcile in oneself. It's to reconcile in oneself. It's not about like saying the words. Like, imagine if the definition of forgiveness was to say, I forgive you. That's what forgiveness is. That's not the definition. We need to dig deeper. We need to dig deeper and find the root of the pain and figure out what's causing that pain, because you're still holding on to something that this person has way moved past. You don't reconciling with another person is not what forgiveness is at all. If you want to reconcile with another person, that's great. That's wonderful. But sometimes that is terrible for your life. So you can't do that. So as a matter of fact, Jesus forgave people while they were still hurting him. So for one, let's go to Matthew 22 and 38 and 39. This is the first and great commandment. And okay, first of all, my bad. Let me go to Matthew 22 and 37. Jesus said to them, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. 38. This is the first and great commandment. And in 39, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. So learning how to forgive yourself gives you the ability to truly forgive others. This is the reason that people have such trouble forgiving others. It's because if I see anybody, I'm not ready to forgive them. Oh, you haven't forgiven yourself yet. If I can't stand that person, oh, you probably can't stand yourself. I hate this person. You probably hate yourself in a lot of ways.
Because how can you have the capacity to do something for somebody else? You can't do for yourself.
You got to learn how to do it at home before you can ever show somebody this in the world. You got to have it inside of you.
That's very true.
So how do you get that? You got to know how to love God. If you know how to love God, God's the only person that can teach you how to forgive yourself.
He did it best.
And some people use principles.
They don't want to do what he did.
They don't want to do what he did because I'm going to show you what God
they
did.
Not finna go eat with no sinners.
I'm going to tell you, Luke 23 and 34. That's where we going. Luke 23 and 34. And the fact that
they don't even realize we sinners ourselves.
So Luke 23 and 34.
Yes, was so crazy.
It says, first I'm going to start with 33. Luke 23 and 33. And when they had come to the place called Calvary, there they crucified him and the criminals, one on the right hand and the other on the left. People just look at this and they think Jesus was just a happy-go-lucky person who's just looking like, this is a part of my process. It's beautiful. Jesus told the Father, please let this cup pass from me.
Mm-hmm.
This man was a human being. Yes, he had God inside of him, but he was a human being. And they put me up here with these criminals.
He probably didn't even expect that.
They put me up here with these two criminals and they're categorizing their God with these two people right here. Now, God was a humble person. He had humility, but I'm like, I can remit sins. I'm God though. Y'all put me up here with them. So
and the fact that I love y'all and y'all will do this
and
to
y'all
me.
do this to me. But this is the mindset he had with it all. In verse 34, then Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. While he is suffering on the cross in pain, forgiveness is not something you just choose to do once you're healed. Forgiveness is in the process of healing. This is good. How you heal.
that was good. Nails right there.
That was
Forgiveness is what allows you to get past it.
I'm just playing.
You want to know how to move on with your life? You got to learn how to forgive. You got to learn how to turn the other cheek. You got to learn how to set in your mindset. When I go out there, if anybody spit on me, I'm going to forgive them immediately. So that way,
I'm flipping tables.
This is what I'm saying right here. This is what is hard to receive. Even for me, I have to receive it. I have to know. And it's weird. It's weird the mindsets I have to put myself in. It's like some practical things I do to put myself in this mindset of forgiveness. That's very difficult, but it helps me. But you have to be in the mindset. I'm trying to make sure I don't lose any of it. Help me, Lord, because I got to keep it all together. So when I am thinking about the situation that could possibly happen, I have to say, I'm going to forgive that person before this happens. I know the conversation I'm about to have. I already know somebody going to say something that's going to offend me. I gotta make sure I forgive them for what I know they're going to do. I know they're going to say some stuff that's going to offend me. I'm going to forgive them right now because I already know it's going to happen. And I already know I ain't even going to be able to respond to them because it's going to add more things that I have to forgive them for. So I'm going to lessen it. I'm going to let them offend me because I know they're going to. And I already got a mindset to forgive them. I'm going to forgive them for shutting the conversation down and not allowing me to speak. I already know it's going to happen. I know that. And people know this stuff's going to happen. They cast their pearls before swine anyways. So what I do, I imagine these people have Tourette's. It's crazy.
I'm crying.
It's crazy when somebody starts talking. Because how different is it when you let the enemy speak for you and somebody's got a medical condition where they can't control themselves? They both don't have control over their tongue. A man that can't tame the tongue, how much different are you than the person who has Tourette's? So, because think about it, medical imbalance, whatever you got to call it, you can't control the other piece.
Actually worse. More peace. Well,
I would say it's actually
because
worse.
The person who has Tourette's is probably in peace, and they are not saying things out of anger or frustration. You don't have temperance. You don't have fruit of the spirit. I'm supposed to be your leader. I'm supposed to be your guide, and I'm over here getting mad at you, thinking that I'm being used by God, thinking I have the Holy Ghost, when really I got the Holy Ghost. It's a show. And I'm trying to act like
I don't know if you should have said
I'm holier than thou.
Take it there.
But that's what it is. That's what it is, because I'm acting like I have self-control and I don't, because I'm not. Okay, this is what I'm going to say. Preparing yourself for the future of when you may need to forgive somebody is stepping into a place where you can be strategic with your emotions. If you're in a place of forgiveness constantly, you will not overreact with your kids. You will not overreact with the people on your job. Some people are ready to go.
So you got to be in a place
in a negative way
of peace and patience.
Fruit of the Spirit.
You have to have the fruit of the Spirit. But you know why people don't have the fruits of the Spirit and they can't do what you just said?
Why?
Because they have their brain dead. They cannot regulate their emotions or their aggression.
And they take pride in that.
You got to think though too, when you're forgiving somebody, you have to have a gentle spirit to forgive.
Yeah.
Nobody forgives out of like,
I forgive
like
you
you're
in the
so
name of
tense.
Jesus.
Yeah,
No,
it's like you got to have a certain level of like gentleness and softness with your heart to even be able to open up to forgiveness. And so I think that's even how you get to the fruit of the Spirit, which is gentleness, kindness, you know what I'm saying, and things like that. I think those qualities help you be able to forgive and have your heart in that way. Because I don't know anybody that forgives with a hardened heart. I don't think it's possible. If your heart is hard, it's like, how you going to forgive? You got to have a softness about your heart. And what is it? I'm going to turn your heart of stone to a heart of flesh. That's the only way you get to that point. That's the only way.
And then,
so you got to start to move in a way that creates in you that gentleness in your heart so that you're able to learn that life skill. Because it's a skill. It's a life skill. I would tell anybody that got kids, teach your kids how to forgive early on, because there is, without a doubt, 100% chance that you're going to get hurt in this lifetime.
But you have to
and
know
you got to learn how to forgive. But you got to learn forgiveness is, because just because you forgive does not mean you forget.
Yeah, just because
you keep allowing the abuse.
We do teach our kids to be like, say sorry. And they don't have the understanding. They just sorry because it gets me.
Yeah.
Like,
but you're teaching them at a young age, like, I don't know. It's a process to that. I don't know. That's a good one.
Communication, like talking to them, letting them know, hey, I'm mad because she hit me.
But that's a good point, because a lot of times we may teach them say sorry, and then they'll grow up with the kind of how you talk about the legalistic side of it. Yeah. It's like, oh, I just know to say it, but I'm just saying it so that they get out my face.
It is.
Exactly. Yeah, that's real.
And so you have to teach your kids understanding. Like if they do something at school, I'm not gonna go tell my son, you make sure you go apologize to your teacher tomorrow. No, we're gonna have a conversation. Hey, you could have really hurt their feelings. Yes, they might have done this, and I do understand your frustration, but you don't know what they could be going through at home. Maybe they don't get loved when they go home, or maybe they don't get new clothes like you get new clothes, and they're making fun of your clothes. Like, that's something our mom always taught us. And I feel like when it came to kids at school, we had a lot of understanding towards mean kids, because we knew, like, we don't know what they're going through. And I think that is how you teach what we say about parenting, because all that's
you gotta forgive a lot of
straight out the window.
Children outside. So, and this is this story is so amazing when you look at it from so many different perspectives in the Bible. That's why you have to read it and ask certain questions in different ways. So in Genesis 50 and 20, Joseph forgave his brothers for selling him and considering killing him. Forgive
Jesse.
He forgave his brothers. Now think about this. He had a spirit of forgiveness. Why? How do you know that? He cried. He had to hide himself, and he cried because he was so glad to see his brothers. And he knew what they did to him. But he understood. He had the mindset. And I'm not crying. I'm wiping dust from my eyes.
I thought you was crying.
Yeah, let it all out.
So, what does the Bible say? God will exalt you in due time. What type of person is God exalting? The type of person who will cry for the brothers that mistreated you. What in the world?
I'm crying.
How did this even answer? I thought I clicked this.
Tell him start calling, man.
Who is that?
So this is John. So I don't. It's like he hacked my phone. That's just crazy. I was like, I know I just hit the end, but what in the world?
Did it answer on
I
your
think because I
watch?
flipped it. I don't know, something like that. But so he gonna have to join us in the chat. So the type of person that God will exalt is the type of person that will cry for the brother that offends them. And a lot of, oh my goodness. And I don't even like to talk about like the way people talk about church people, because the church is of God, but there are people in the church that are being misleading. They're not ready to.
I don't know if the building is of God. I think the
well, I mean, it's about the people.
Church is
it's about the people. Are the people moving in the will of God or not? Like
there's a lot of different people in church
is
too.
just walls, bricks. Like that ain't it. It's all based on are the people. You know, that's a whole nother subject too. But
yeah,
but just the principle of,
because God is disappointed in the church.
Are these people ready? But that's what I'm saying. The church has got to be defined. People do, we can say forgiveness doesn't work, but the definition of forgiveness does. The church has a problem, but the definition of true church doesn't. See, I'm differentiating that. People call themselves the church. People call themselves Christians.
I don't like
how. But Christians, real Christians, are called Christians. The real church, this is the church right here. That's what the true church is, the true body of Christ. Jesus didn't say, I'm your Lord. He said, I'm the Lord if you call me Lord. You got to call me Lord. You got to call me your pastor. You got to call me the church in order for me to be the church.
Yeah. I don't think the true church is recognized as that name, the church. It's a lot of people out here saying this is the church. Any body of anything that says that they're the church or person and they exclude others, that is not the church. And you have so many different religions that exclude others. That's probably why I have a problem with the church and why I don't want to be. I'm not going to be a part. I'm not going to be a part of anything that excludes other people.
It's a whole lot to unpack.
You just kind of struck some little nerves.
But yeah, because the church, the church, the word, the church,
the real church is what were you talking about?
Because there's such a society. Think about this. Why would the devil create a whole new thing when he can pervert what's good? Well, he didn't come up with, I got fruit growing on the ground. No, he had to take the fruit, the good trees in the garden. He had to make a bad one.
What?
What I'm saying is he had to have a bad tree. The devil, I'm not saying he created the tree. I'm just saying he had to have a bad tree.
You don't think he may have affected the good? Well, I don't know.
What I'm saying is the principle, the devil, he creates things, but the devil is not so much in the strip club as he is in the churches. Why? Because the strip club already
got it.
He already got it. He ain't sitting there supervising
y'all ain't going nowhere.
The devil ain't sitting there supervising the strip clubs.
Yeah.
He's supervising the church because he's trying to get those people to be perverted. So why?
You know what? He might not be there either.
Why would a lot of the churches, the devil ain't even there because they already taken over. But I just don't like the bad rep that the church has because of what the church has.
Yeah.
See, the church in quotation, society church is messed up.
Yeah.
Real spiritual, definitely. That's why we gotta differentiate society, organization, religion versus the spirit, the heart of true church. We have to be able to differentiate that because if Jesus says, I want you to follow me. And then we categorize this followers of Christ. We have to be able to categorize something and have it have a definition. We just have to be able to do that. When we say the church, we have to be able to call it something. What are the followers of Christ is just, there's different ways to say
church?
It.
Fruit.
No. He said, come out from among them.
Well, who is them? You know what I mean?
Well, we know who them is.
We know who them. We know who they is. we know who they is. They hiding. We got to come out from among them.
Come out from among them, and then you will find the true church, because usually you are being crucified for his name's sake. When you get to that point, when everybody got something to say about you, you done found their true church.
Wait. Okay, you're saying the people that's crucifying you is not the real church?
No.
Okay, well, see, we agree. We understand now. We're on the same page.
Here.
We here, but it's just a bad rep that what God wants. I mean, music. God made music. Who perverted it? The devil. The tree. God made all these trees.
He made the tree of good and evil.
But he made the tree of good and evil. But who perverted it? God probably had a good purpose for it.
He said, "Don't touch it." That was.
But the devil is the one that deceived the woman, and who made sex and who perverted it?
Exactly.
So now there's an unnatural way to do everything. Mm-hmm. Who made? I'll tell you what's even crazier. Who made marijuana and cocaine and all this? God made it for a purpose.
That's why cocaine is already in your brain.
Well, I don't know about cocaine.
Cocaine is.
Y'all ain't seen the videos where they put gasoline in the cocaine, like how they be making that cocaine?
I knew Jesse was on something.
Yeah, I took a hit for just
see you over there shaking
but no,
your head,
I don't. I think they have like maybe a coca. What it not is that chocolate? Coca leaf or something? I don't know how to make cocaine. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying God made everything. And
yeah,
everything
but
is good.
yeah.
But for its purpose.
But I didn't know.
Swine is good for its purpose.
Yeah, I get. But cocaine is a little bit different than weed. It's in terms of like.
And I don't think it's a sin to eat swine. I'm just saying.
No. I'm just saying in terms of all the added. I really didn't have to say anything. I could just let it.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
It just they add a lot more to cocaine is what I was saying.
We do.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I said the wrong thing. I'm talking about the natural elements.
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking.
I really could have just let it go anyway.
I don't even know why I was sticking with that. Whatever they put in there. I don't know.
Dopamine is actually, I apologize for it.
Yeah, and I forgive you. Probably I might have to really forgive you later when I feel it. Dopamine is very
similar to cocaine.
Yeah, sugar.
Oh, for sure. It rises it through the roof, don't it? Don't cocaine like rise your dopamine through the roof?
But before we
ain't got to talk about that's off the pod. We'll talk about that.
This is the point I was trying to make about
what receptors it goes to.
This is the point I was trying to make about Joseph. So the people that are going to get exalted are the people that don't view themselves as holier than thou. When someone makes a mistake, they don't view them as a devil. When someone is not raised in the same way you are, we don't view them as a devil. We're easy to forgive. We're not bickering and having cliques and getting.
We also have to stop thinking we're right.
And we have to start thinking we're right about everything.
You said we have to start.
We have to stop. We have to begin to know that we're right and condemn others that don't agree with us.
We actually need to start from a place where we can be wrong. Consider that we are wrong.
Yeah, open-mindedness.
Yeah. Was there some verse I read? I forgot what it was.
Ashley's favorite saying.
Oh man,
we have to consider
I'm closed-minded. It's
you
just
have to
like
test all things.
You can't even
Thessalonians.
Can't get nothing through.
And we want to sit here and judge others and talk about them and they're
they got
Muslim and I have to convert them. I have to make them like me. We don't 100% know if we are right to begin to try to convert somebody. What we need to do is be able to sit down and have a conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see if I'm right.
You should always, for sure.
But we're too afraid to. I'm too scared because what are you scared
of? That's because a lot of times
it's
wrapped up in your identity. So it's like, if I lose this, then I lose who I am. Exactly. And a lot of people aren't willing to explore the other side of that. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, now this is powerful right here. Acts chapter 7. I'm going to start with verse 57. Then they cried out with a loud voice, stopped their ears, and ran at him with one accord. They were running towards Peter, or Stephen is what they say in here. Was his name not changed yet? I don't know.
Who?
I think
Because Stephen and Peter are two different people.
Well, I know Simon Peter.
Simon.
Something about, okay, sorry. Stephen. I'm messing it up. So let me start over. Acts chapter 7, verse 57. Then they cried out with a loud voice, stopped their ears, and ran at him with one accord, and they cast him out of the city and stoned him. And the witnesses laid down their clothes at the feet of a young man named Saul. And they stoned Stephen as he was calling on God and saying, Lord Jesus, receive my spirit. Then he knelt down and cried out with a loud voice, Lord, do not charge them with this sin. And when he had said this, he fell asleep. How do we get to that point?
Understanding.
Somebody is stoning us, and we are saying, Lord, please do not charge us. Understanding.
Because what did Jesus say?
That's a level of understanding.
No, but what did Jesus say on the cross? They know not what they do.
But also, I think it's a level of understanding, but it's also a level of understanding of forgiveness. Because when you understand forgiveness, you know that unforgiveness doesn't ever help you.
Yeah.
So why would I ever, no matter what ever happens to me, ever choose unforgiveness? When you really understand unforgiveness, no matter what happens to you in life, you always understand that forgiveness is the best way. There is no route in which unforgiveness will ever be the right way. Then that's where people have to understand the difference between forgiveness and access, because just because I forgive you does not mean I allow access back into my life. So people do have to understand that. But there is no route within yourself or with others that forgiveness is not the best way for healing and for releasing and for getting the hurt and pain out of you. It's no route in this life that unforgiveness is ever the best way.
If you look, I think it's Psalms 4:7. Don't quote me on this, not word for word.
No, we're gonna quote you.
But I think it says something like to seek. It says something like to change or something. Understanding.
1 and 7 is
some Psalms.
It should be
Proverbs.
No, it should be Psalms 4:7. To seek understanding. It's not saying like in everything you do. Well, in a sense, in everything that you do, you should seek understanding. Is that Psalms 4:7?
It's Proverbs 4:7.
Proverbs 4:7.
I was like, I don't know.
And so
it's not in there. the Psalms is it stops at 6. That's why I was like, hold up.
Okay, so
4:7, yeah. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and in all you're getting, get understanding.
Okay. Yeah. So there's this, I don't know if you've ever heard of Plato's cave theory.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Plato's closet.
Yeah, I go there all the time, girl.
And so these three men were tied up in a cave, and they were, looking at a wall, and there was a fire behind them, and someone was behind there casting shadows on the wall. And this is all they knew. This was life. They didn't know anything outside of that. They heard voices from the behind them. And so that was their perception, was this is life. One guy, somebody freed one of the men, and the men came out. He seen what was making the shadows on the, doing the shadows on the cave. Then he came up out of the cave and he seen the light. It was very hard to look at because it was so bright, but he seen this whole new world, and he was like, oh my gosh, what I've been shown my whole life is not real. I've got to go back and save the others. And so he went back to tell them, hey, this is fake. I got to free y'all. Y'all got to get out of here, because, there's somebody making shadows, and there's a whole world out there with sun and grass, and we're stuck in a cave. They were so angry at him for telling them. And they told him to leave. And they said, if anybody else comes to try to free us, we will kill them. They did not want understanding. When you do not want understanding, your instinct is literally to kill anyone that tries to make you understand.
And
so that is how we act. Look at Jesus. Look at all these people who were murdered because, I don't know if we can say that word.
Well, they wanted to kill Jesus.
They wanted to, and you see, they did.
Wait, unalive might be suicide. I don't know.
That's something else. That's the other word.
But when you do not want to seek understanding, look at the behavior of how people act. Look at the uproar of, we got to get rid of him. Like, it's always like that. Even like Martin Luther King and, even people that's in our lifetime. Any movement. When you do not want to seek understanding, when you don't want to sit down and have a conversation or let me just see what they're talking about. I've been taught not to like this. Like, I've been taught not to like Kamala. I've been taught not to like President Trump. Let me just sit down and listen and open my heart to see if what they're saying might be true. If we do not do that, we literally want to kill them.
That's big facts.
I was thinking about that when we were talking about, when we were just saying, when you have a problem forgiving people, like if any of us had a problem with unforgiveness, which, sometimes we do. I'm just saying, like, in general, if someone has a problem with unforgiveness, and and Stephen's situation where he was getting stoned to death, a lot of us would be angry. I mean, think about the videos that we may see on Facebook and where the anger rises up in us. I'm like, oh no. Like, we have to be careful. Like, it's not like we can't be justifiably angry.
Almost like we're being taught.
But we have to be in the moment where we would be able to forgive that person. And that doesn't mean we're accepting your bad behavior.
Exactly.
But we are
in a spirit of forgiveness.
Because if you're not in a spirit of forgiveness, this is so dangerous. If you do not have the ability to forgive, you have to be careful, because like you said, if you don't have the ability to forgive, you can easily step into the mindset of being okay if that person died. And how can God forgive you if you are not able to forgive that person?
Sometimes I'm okay with that person dying, but I feel understand.
I'm saying. But how can you be in a right place, a right standing with God? Think about this. If Stephen was so mad at them, how can y'all stone me? I hope God kill all of y'all.
He wasn't in a place of understanding.
How can he make it to heaven?
Exactly.
You on your deathbed and you have unforgiveness in your heart. That's scary.
Do you know
might
how
not
many
make
people
it.
though are like that want they don't want to admit it, but in their heart, and they'll say it like, oh God, please don't let nothing happen to them. But like, y'all are lying, because as soon as something happened to them, what'd I tell you? I told you Jesus was going to get them.
That's probably was they test.
And you hear it. You hear a lot of prophecies in church. God is going to bring them to their knees, and this is going to happen to them. Like, people can't wait to see God punish you. You don't have forgiveness in your heart, because when you have understanding, I'm telling you, understanding is the beginning of all things. You want to forgive somebody, you need to get understanding. Try your best to, it's so easy. Just try your best to understand. You don't have to accept what they did, but if you can understand what they did, you can forgive them for yourself. If you have understanding, you do not want this person to get harmed. When I found understanding for Jeffrey Dahmer, I had compassion for him.
Whoa.
I did not want, I felt bad when he was murdered in prison. And,
see, I didn't see the whole thing.
And people are, they're like, oh, how could you forgive somebody like this? Because I found understanding. I got understanding comes compassion.
We can forgive somebody.
Doesn't mean that what he did was right.
Yeah, you might need to stay in there your whole life.
And he wanted to. He said, I need to be in here. Yeah. He knew, but
it's like, I ain't mad. Like, certain people, like, I'm not necessarily mad at you, but we just being responsible. You need to protect ourselves.
Like, you're not coming around my kids. Like, we're not finna be like, you're not good.
But they may think that we have an issue. Like, how could you forgive somebody like that? I'm like,
exactly.
You need to ask your father, because, and I'm talking about your heavenly father, because in Mark 11:25, it says, and whenever you stand praying, he said, pray always. Whenever you stand praying, if you have anything against anyone, forgive him, that your Father in heaven may also forgive you your trespasses. But if just in case we forget, we may think, oh, well, my Father may still forgive me. It's, then I can forgive, just in case you think it's that type of order of operation. But if the next verse, but if you do not forgive, neither will your Father in heaven forgive your trespasses. So yes, you need to forgive your father. You need to forgive this person like your father forgave you, because he forgave you first. But he's also saying your trespasses, the things that come next, I will not forgive you if you do not forgive this person. Like, I may forgive you for certain things, but you're not going to win in forgiveness if you do not forgive this person.
Yeah, but they think that's too bad. I don't have to forgive that because that's a sin.
And you saw the statistics where it was showing 75% of people think that God has forgiven them. I feel like God has forgiven them, but then 45% of people are not ready to forgive. Only 45% of people are ready to forgive.
Like, they think if it's a sin, if you sin against God, I don't have to forgive you. Or all I got to do is say the words I forgive and I'm good. So I'm going to just say the words, so I'll be right with God. But meanwhile,
even this,
you're not.
This is only 45% of people who say that they have forgiven. How many of those 45% of people, like you said, actually forgave? Like, and it's not even, so people think like this is something that we have to do. You can hit it again.
No,
Brittany.
It's good. We probably, we straight.
But people think, well, you're asking me for a lot. Well, I'm asking you to give up a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to
give yourself.
People think forgiveness is something you have to take on. Forgiveness is something you have to take off.
Ooh.
There is that, yes.
So you want to walk with this thing forever, and you holding all these bags, and you putting up all this stuff. I'm asking you to push away your fence, your wall, so you can see clearly. I'm asking you to clear your vision. I'm asking you to go to the altar,
right there.
Wherever your altar is. If it's at home, I'm asking you right now, in the name of Jesus, to get down on your knees and let it go.
Yeah, put a 1 in the chat if you got some tears coming.
That's the thing too, because a lot of people think when you forgive somebody,
people, but it's gonna
that you got to take it to them.
His yoke is easy.
You don't have to even take it to them and say I forgive you. You don't have to do that. You can forgive somebody from a distance. You can be like it can just literally be between you and God.
You know what though? But you cannot apologize from a distance. A lot of people
that's what I'm saying. If you're trying to, that's why people literally need to understand the skill of forgiveness and what it is, because reconciliation does not mean forgiveness. And so it's like you trying to apologize and bring it, like that's not forgiving.
You can't just tell God. You? Does the Bible say that? Can you just tell God I apologize and not actually apologize?
Well, that's different. It's like that's two different things. It's like if somebody wronged me, I may not have to see them no more, and I'm forgiving them. But if I wrong somebody, I'm probably gonna need to. I would want to take it to them to try to make it right.
That's what I'm saying. Does the Bible actually say that all we have to do is ask God for forgiveness? That we don't actually have to.
Well, that's to forgive us.
That's what I'm saying. We would have to make them forgive us.
I mean, okay, like now it does say like if you have aught against someone, you take it to them.
Yeah.
So
because we could lose out on a relationship with that person.
Them, like, yeah, I would say if it's me, if I have the ability to, then I would like to clear it up with them. That would be a good thing to do.
Because I want to have a relationship with this person.
But it's just, I would say that works just like forgiveness, because there may not be a possibility. Like, let's say
that's your choice.
The person's no longer living. What if you took somebody's life? Then you got to be like, well, Lord, I'm sorry. I apologize. You have to have, it's not about the action. It's about the heart behind the action.
That's more forgiving yourself,
when
though.
you have, when you have understanding of, oh my gosh,
but you have the heart to where if you could go to that person and make it right, if that was the thing that made it right, you want to do whatever it is. So it's about the Lord, I'll do whatever it takes. That mindset humility behind it.
But true forgiveness, you're probably, if it's true forgiveness, you're probably going to want to go to that person and talk with them.
Yeah.
I think that you can forgive without actually going to them. Now, you might have ruined your relationship with them that you no longer can have.
How would you ruin it? If I gotta forgive somebody, that means they did something against me. They ruined the relationship. They did me wrong.
No, I'm saying if you did something.
You're talking about to apologize.
Yeah, if you did something and wronged them, can you get forgiveness without actually going to them? But I think it goes along with forgiving yourself, like finding that understanding that this is why I did this, and but
they don't have to. Yeah, but they don't have to. They can accept my apology, but they don't. That doesn't mean like I'm trying to figure out. They don't have to. They don't have to accept me back.
Scenarios where somebody may hate your guts, and you don't really. They may be out to.
I can ask them for forgiveness, and maybe
they may hate you so much they want to take your life. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta.
But what am I forgiving?
In certain cases,
no.
I'm talking about apologizing.
Oh, okay.
She says she's not talking about
forgiveness. Because you conflating. That's why I'm confused. Because you conflating apologies and forgiving in the same.
She changed. She said she meant to say she's talking about
apologizing.
That's
what I was talking about. I might have said the wrong word.
You said the word forgiveness, but
that's why I was confused. I'm like, how is I'm forgiving?
No. I'm sorry.
They need to be apologizing to me.
Yeah. Okay. Now see, I messed up. So no, I'm saying when you wrong them, can you apologize? And I guess from a distance, can you get forgiveness? Can you get forgiveness from God when you don't actually go and reconcile that? Because you can't. I don't think you can just say.
Well, they blocked you. You can't.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Well, I think you have to feel it in your heart. I don't think you can just say, "Lord, forgive me." I wronged this person, and you just because you say it, don't mean that you're actually that it's a real apology.
I got a good verse that will clear this up. Hebrews 12:14. Pursue peace with all people and holiness, without which no one will see the Lord. That's very scary because we think about ourselves.
We won't see God?
Yeah, and they won't see God either. It's a possibility they won't see God.
If we wait,
pursue peace with all people and holiness, without which no one will see the Lord. It's not, their salvation is not based on you, but I'm saying there are people that if you don't make it right with them, remember when we say like the condemnation, if you give, it'll be given unto you. Some people don't have the ability to let go of things because you haven't shown. Some people are just so down. They've never had somebody love them, and they may never turn to God because you didn't pursue peace with that person. Holiness. We think about, we need to pursue peace with all men so that we can be holy. We want to be holy people, but we don't think about that. It says no man. It doesn't say this man, me. It says pursue peace with all people in holiness, without which no one will see the Lord. Not you, not the person.
I don't really like that scripture.
It's true. It's not like a, if I'm cursed and I don't pursue peace, then they're going to be cursed too. No, it's saying that there's a domino effect that you have to think about. I have to think about, this is the heart behind it. It's not about, like, if somebody just won't receive your apology and they don't want to hear what you got to say,
if you know
that's
that
different. But if you have the ability to pursue peace with that person and just to make it right, you need to do that.
For sure.
The Bible says that we should be called peacemakers. Not we can make peace in all situations. We have to have the mindset to want peace. Because a lot of times people think you making peace in all situations, you trying to do that, is going to cause more destruction. But you having a mindset to desire peace is going to cause more peace, because you cannot manipulate and control situations. That causes more destruction, because you're trying to shut down conversations that need to be a little chaotic at first, but it needs to be chaotic on their end, and you need to receive it and be able to quiet the storm. Jesus did not, Jesus allowed that storm to happen for a minute, and he told the storm, He told the storm. I think there's such a revelation in the storm, but I wish I could remember it because he gave the storm a name. He didn't just say, he said storm be peace, or so. I gotta get the verse, man. This may take a minute for me to pull
I
up,
think
but
we need to pray for the opportunity
Jesus
in those
calmed the storm.
situations, because sometimes you could really possibly need to make peace with someone that isn't going to hear you, isn't going to agree with you, isn't going to, like, they're just can't really see the light.
If that's the case, though, I would say that kind of what Ash was talking about, like, my desire is peace.
Yeah.
But peace is not always possible because it takes, it takes me to have peace within myself, of course, but it takes two to create peace within the relationship that we have.
Yeah.
Whatever. If somebody else is not willing to pursue that as well, then I know that I tried. But if I try to force peace on you, you move from trying to make peace to manipulation and control. You can't control peace in anybody else.
Yeah.
You only can open it up for them.
Instead of thinking about the reward, you need to think about there's a whole revelation about it. You need to think about the sword that got you the victory.
Exactly.
You need to think about that,
not the
instead of thinking
itself.
About. We get so caught up on the end of it, like,
because that's a mindset.
In Samuel 17, it shows Goliath. He had a sword, and the only way we know he had a sword is because David took his sword and cut his head off with it.
You just told me this.
Yeah.
I was like, I just heard this story.
And then I'm telling you, it's confirmation. But the way that he knew that he had that Goliath had a sword is because David took the sword and he cut off Goliath's head with it. So everybody was praising him. Oh, David, you're so great. He forgot about his sword and he started focusing on the reward. And he left the sword behind and he got dusty and all that. So when we think about peace is the reward. But we have to think about, what attributes do I need to have? What type of person do I need to be? Instead of thinking about, the job I want, what type of person do you need to be to get that job? Instead of thinking about, what type of relationship do I want? We always, who do you need to be to get that relationship?
How
do you get that peace? You need to be the peaceful person.
And I feel like when I say God speaks to me, it is not in no audible voice. So please, when I say
that's a lie from it. No,
when I say God speaks to me, don't think that it's like a whisper in my ear. And we ain't there yet. And so,
Brittany, you need to be quiet.
Yeah, if it was like that. But when I was going through, my what I call relationship goals, because I was in my journey of
talking about your Mike Todd relationship
my Mike
goals?
Todd course. I was in a physical course.
Yeah.
And but this is one thing he was against, was making a list. But I wrote my list anyways. And so I wrote down all the things that I wanted in my spouse. And in a sense, I felt God say, I feel like he asked me to write it down. And then I felt like he said, now become that. Wait a minute. I wrote down, how can you ask for something that you are not yourself?
That list was for you.
Exactly. And so I worked on becoming a lot of those things that I was asking for. And it caused me, my journey turned from trying to get into a relationship to becoming the person that I would want to be with. And changing myself. And then I started to love myself, and I started to become proud of myself. And that goes with like what you were saying.
Yeah. And then in Hebrews 12:14, after it goes to pursue peace with all people and holiness, without which no one will see the Lord, looking carefully lest anyone fall short of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up cause trouble, and by this many become defiled. I mean, we talk about unholy people. We think about these women other sins. We don't think about unforgiveness.
We definitely don't think of ourselves as.
We don't think about unforgiveness and how it destroys us. We don't think about that. We think, oh, okay, it's cool. God got to deal with. You got some unforgiveness in your heart. How much has that set you back? You don't even know. You don't even know how much unforgiveness will set you back.
I don't think people realize that they actually don't forgive because they think, oh, I can easily say those words. I'm a forgiving person.
Yeah.
And they don't. A lot of people cannot recognize those things in their heart, that I'm a mean person, that I am unforgiving, I am unloving. Like because they can say it and call themselves loving and call themselves Christian, doesn't mean that you actually are, because you don't have the fruit.
And they can't truly love other people. They can't truly love other people because they have not forgiven the people that wronged them.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read this one more.
Oh my goodness,
I
was looking at you and I forgot to click the camera on that
I'll
one.
say it one more time. They can't really love other people because they have not been able to forgive other people that have wronged them. And if we look at Matthew 8, 23 and 27 through 27, 23, was it Matthew 8, 23 through 27? And we're going to close here. Okay, the storm. Yes. Because this is this chaos that people want this chaos to just be settled now. You don't need to be this way. God says to be peaceful. I got to make this peaceful now. Don't gossip. Stop it. Like all this, you're trying to control the situation. Instead of like, this person is who he is. You need to be peaceful. You need to be a peacemaker, someone that has the ability to make peace as much as you can. Jesus could have easily just like, kept the storm from even happening. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're traveling. He's a peaceful person. He's a person of grace. He could have just kept it. Oh, when I'm traveling with Jesus, don't nothing bad happen. No. Matthew 8. Now, in verse 23, that's where it starts. Now, when he got into a boat, his disciples followed him, and suddenly a great tempest arose on the sea, so that the boat was covered with waves. But he was asleep. See, that's so interesting. The parallel between a big, and this is more to it I'm gonna cover, but a big bad situation and how somebody is at peace. So as soon as something happens, your levels, your mindset is in a peaceful state. This is just a revelation to me. Then his disciples came to him and awoke him. They're worried, saying, Lord, save us. We are perishing. But he said to them, why are you fearful, O you of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. So the men marveled, saying, who can this be that even the winds and the sea obey him? When he had come to the other side of the country, I think this is going into some other stuff. So the men marveled, saying, who can this be? Where's this part? He rose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. Let me see the King James. There's some part that it's just, it's a revelation. I don't know if I'm in the right place even. There is a verse, it may be in another book, but that's just for another time. But anyways, it's just a parallel to show you that when there is a calm, when there's a storm, your goal is not to like, just keep it from happening. Your goal isn't to stop it from happening. Your goal is to bring the peace. Proverbs 15:1, a soft answer turns away wrath. The grievous words stir up anger. So we want to get into, if they're fighting me with this, I got to fight them with the same thing to get them to calm down. No one's going to fight a fire with fire. You need to use water. You need to use something that will
a blanket
that will fight it, or just anything something that when soft. You think about this in front of you, facing you, fighting you, you have to think strategically. Matter of fact, God gave you emotions. Sometimes the anger that you use can cause peace if it's used the right way. But you got to have that discernment. You got to understand there are situations where you need to stand bold and use your anger in a peaceful way. You have to be able to say, I need you to stop. And just because you sit in a calm manner, you're still angry, but you cause peace on that situation.
I hope you don't think that's gonna work with kids.
No, I mean, it better.
It
Or
ain't.
That's why it's discernment, though,
Because they sure finna scream back at you and say,
with kids, you say, sit down.
Well, with kids,
that'll work.
Now, with kids, if you get upset and you're angry at them, I mean, if that worked, I would do it all the time, right? But it's like, why do people they don't think about what's going to work, what's going to be solved, and what's going to solve this situation. They think about, oh, I got to be real. Oh, they're going to challenge me. They think pride goes before destruction.
Yeah.
Pride goes before a fall. Pride goes before an argument. A heated argument. But that's all we have for you guys today. If you can like,
wait, I got subscribe.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. We'll do those after the show. No, I'm just playing. So
after the show, it's crazy.
Hey guys, please like and subscribe and tune in. We're gonna keep giving you more of this, but we're gonna go to our final thoughts. We got Legally Bree. What are your final thoughts on forgiveness?
Less judgment, more understanding.
All right, that was good. So Jesse, what are you not playing?
That's all I was gonna say. Less judgment, more understanding.
She said, "Less judge and misunderstanding." No, just playing. No, less judgment and more understanding in prophetic words.
If I had to say one thing, I would say learn the skill of forgiveness. It is a life skill.
Exactly.
You are going to get hurt. Think
exactly. You're gonna get hurt.
Skill.
It is not going to get hurt in this life. And so I think understanding that unforgiveness is never going to work. Forgiveness is the way. The power is in forgiving and not forgetting. Because if you got to forget, then it's not true forgiveness. And so remembering and still choosing to forgive, I think, is powerful in itself. But yeah, just understanding it's a life skill and you deserve it. You deserve to forgive because it releases you. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was a really good episode. I think hopefully a lot of people got healed from that. It's very important to release the grasp that the enemy has on you, to release the hold that the enemy has on you in your heart. Because there's a moment in life where you're like, God, why can I not progress? Why can I not move forward? Why can I not really feel you? Why can't I feel you? Why can't I get in a good relationship with you, God? I haven't heard you in so long, and I keep looking this way because I think the camera's there and it's right there.
And I'm looking this way.
Why can I not get in a loving relationship? Why can't I feel you, God? Why? What is that? And there's something in the root. It may not even be unforgiveness. It may just be you may really have a problem with, it may not be forgiving someone else. It really may be forgiving you. It could be that forgiving yourself is a tough thing. And God's trying to get you to understand that every time you sin, you should not hate and condemn yourself for it. You should not fight and fight and fight. Oh my gosh, I got to fight this flesh. I have to you subject the flesh. It's a different process. It's not fighting the flesh as far as taking a sword to the flesh. The spirit and the flesh are contrary one to another. You have to allow your spiritual man to take over. You have to get your mind on things that are pure, that are of good report, that are lovely. The first trick the enemy did in the garden was to show Adam and Eve what they didn't have and make them forget about everything that they do have. That's how the enemy can manipulate you and to take over you. You have peace. You have a place of healing. You have a sword that you can use to fight the enemy with. But the enemy wants to distract you. You don't have that thing. You don't have that career. You don't have this. And he wants to put you in that place, not only to think about the things you don't have, but to get lost on it, where you're forgetting all those wonderful, great things that you do have. And now we're not able to let go of our sinful. You can't let go of your sinful nature, but you're not able to let go of your sin, because if the devil gives you an envelope, an invitation to sin, boy, you better not open it, because you got to understand your sinful nature is alive and active. And when you open it, it's too late. When Lot's wife turned to look back at Sodom and Gomorrah, she got turned to a pillar of salt. You cannot look. If you look with the woman with adultery in your heart, you've already with lust in your heart, you've already committed adultery. Yo, bruh, when you look at it, you've already committed adultery. I'm telling you, we live in a world that is so full of sin. It's easy to just see it. People will get offended with you. You got to forgive them because they don't know. They don't know. Forgive them, for they do not know. They get mad at you. You think you're such a righteous Christian. I forgive them, Lord. They want to crucify you. They hate you because you want to actually do right. The world is so messed up. The worst things in the world are normal now. Oh my goodness. You can't go on Instagram the same way everybody else does. You looking at stuff. Oh, bro, seriously?
We looking at men in dresses.
You that messed up that you can't even look at this? Oh, they think, oh, I'm not going to put on no dress as a man. You better stop looking at it. I'm just saying, like, I'm sure I would never do that. But how does it slip into the comedy? It's normal.
We normalize it.
It's funny. It's just funny. Bro, I don't know. The Lord just led me to say some stuff that, I don't know, maybe some people need to hear. I don't know. Hopefully y'all receiving it. But we're gonna talk about some stuff. Y'all drop in the comments some stuff y'all want us to cover and want us to talk about. I'm trying to just study, and this is a process to help me study. So y'all like, subscribe, and you can go ahead and hit the end, and it's gonna prompt you. You can click it. And look, man, y'all be blessed in Jesus' name. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all this last thing. Pray. Get 5 minutes tonight. Pray 5 minutes tonight, because y'all can't take this and just not use it. Don't just take this and just not use it tonight, man. Pray. Find somewhere. Talk to God, Lord.
Help me forgive.
Why not tonight, man? Why not tonight? Giving that all to God. Why not? You can move on with your life, and y'all gonna be thinking, man, if it weren't for this message, not me, but if it weren't for this night right here, I didn't know. I didn't know I was holding on to this. I can let it go now and I can be blessed. Oh man. Because I experienced mine this Wednesday. And I'm not just saying this to have a good show. I promise you, I'm not the same person I was Wednesday afternoon that I was Wednesday evening. Oh, I'm a different person now, man. I promise y'all, I'm not lying. This is not me trying to make anybody I'm not trying to get views. I'm not trying to make people feel good. This is real. God is real. If y'all don't believe it, it's real. I love studying. Like I said in the beginning, I love studying this stuff out. But man, there's a spiritual aspect to this that is so real. If you can tap into it, you gotta get your heart right. And there's many things you have to do. When God brings that miracle, you have to be ready to be consistent and steward everything else he has for you, so that miracle doesn't fall in your lap and you lose it. But yeah, we're gonna cover some more stuff. God bless y'all. Peace.